Yo, what is up, chat? Hello, hello, hello. Happy Monday. Hey, what's up, guys? Mendoza, how's it going? Big Lucana, what's up, guys? How's it going? Hello, hello. I hope you guys had a good weekend. Hope we're all doing well. Let me get my light on here. Happy Monday. I have a kitty with me right now. Yo, what's up, Big Lucana? How you going? How you doing, buddy? Sorry, I'm just trying to get completely situated here. But what is up, everybody? Hello, hello. How are we? Hopefully, everybody got to see a Totus stream this weekend. I hope you guys got to hang out with him. Okay, so what's up, dude? How's it going? Ida Valen, hello, hello. Happy Monday to you, too. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. But yeah, I hope you guys had a good weekend. Hopefully, it was a chill one. I had a pretty awesome weekend. I went to a festival this weekend and got to see a bunch of bands. I got to see 311. I got to see Snoop Dogg. I got to see Revelation. I got to see, who else? Man, I got to see a lot of people, dude. It was a great time. It was a super cool festival. There's a festival in San Diego, or I'm sorry, not in San Diego, in California called Cali Vibes. And I was there this weekend. It was dope. It was a lot of fun. Yo, Fluffy. What's up, dude? How's it going? Mr. Sexy Man, I'm here to say hi. What's up, Fluffy Packer? Dude, how are you? How is Chibi? Like, how are things, man? I feel like we haven't talked to Chibi in forever. Dude, thank you for always stopping by, saying hi. Seriously, it's good to see you, man. 39 months, dude. Holy crap. 39 months. That's crazy. TypeScript Tea Time. What's up, man? How's it going? Hello, hello. But yeah, I had a pretty fun weekend. One of the things I did do, though, before I left, was Toad and I sat down, and we took kind of like a time to, almost like a stand-up, where we wanted to kind of reassess the things that we were concerned about, our priorities, and kind of get ourselves back into a position to be able to, do the things that we enjoy doing. And there's two things. There's actually two things. No clue. Haven't been around as much. I swapped night. Oh, dang. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, bud. I hope work is at least going decent, and yeah, man, trust me. I know that I used to run swing, so I didn't run night, but I did run swing. Anything that's just not normal hours you feel like you're disconnected from society. So I get it. I totally get it, man. But yeah, so excuse me. I had to burp. Yeah, no, I did swing. I did swing for a solid year and a half, and it was one of the weirdest experiences in my life. But yeah, no, anyway, so like I said, over the weekend, before I left for the weekend, Atona and I sat down and we talked a bit about our priorities and stuff like that. And so with that, we were able to really kind of get a good list of like things we want to focus on, things that we have like blocking other things. Like it was a really good time. It was a really good opportunity for us to like examine things. Now we have jumped on a couple of really cool projects already at the start of this year. We have jumped on the Quirk rewrite, right? And through that, we're also simultaneously redoing our recording pipeline, which is really exciting. However, I want to make sure we're not tripping over ourselves. And this is something that is like, I think it's very hard to achieve at any company, making sure that you're building automation or building practices in a good way so that they make your next step easier, and may not, in any way, shape, or form like prevent it or things like that. And it just basically means doing things the right way the first time. That's literally all it means. It literally just means doing things the right way the first time. And so we've got ourselves in a bit of a situation where after, hold on one second. Actually, I don't have to hide my desktop because you can't see it. Lol. I forgot about that. But yeah, no. So we were able to sit down and look and make a bunch of like tickets essentially. And right now, I know you can't see it, and it's okay because I'm not trying to show it to you. But right now, we are basically trying to create the Twitch Lambda, right, in Rust, which we've really already done, right? And at the same time, we're also trying to create the changes that we want to make to the recording pipeline. However, When I look at that and I see like, okay, what steps are we, like what do we have in front of us? Is there anything we're missing? The reality of it is there's definitely a few things that we're kind of missing that we need to clean up if we want to be able to work on both simultaneously and not really be blocked by them, or blocked by things that might not be enabling us to keep working on what we want to. And so like a common scenario is that like this is like, maybe there are some other dependencies or maybe there's like some automation somewhere that you realize like, oh, I got to go update this first before I can do this, right? That's really what we're talking about here. Quirk has been around for a while. It's been running technically for like 2 years now, in multiple deployments, some at home, some in the cloud, some in other clouds. It's been all over the place. And we recently started doing a really good job of cleaning up Quirk's old technical IP, essentially. It's old like repositories, old automation, getting things into Amazon, getting things consolidated. We were doing a really good job at kind of finishing that. However, there were some pieces that we missed. And some of these pieces are pretty crucial to what we're doing. And the way that we think about how we use these pieces is pretty important. Because right now, the way that we use them, it might actually break in the future if we try changing them. And that's kind of what I mean by that common scenario where like you're working on something and you go like, oh, okay, crap. Like if I do this, I'm actually going to break something down the road. I know I am. I have to, take care of that first. And so, yeah, that's basically what we're doing. Now we have a few things that we need to take care of. Basically, they're all pretty low level. Some of them are cost savings. Some of them are more out of necessity, meaning like we might need them for specific like processes or to do specific things. And other things might just be simply that we want to clean this up and consolidate this stuff before we trying to manage like multiple things at once, essentially. Okay, hold on 1 second, chat. I have to check on something. I put in a delivery. Well, I put in one delivery and then that one never went through. And so then I had to put in another one because the other one didn't go through. So that was fun. Sorry, first world problems. Cool. Okay. Okay, so let me move this over here. Okay, so the first one, and let's go ahead and just move to the desktop. So the first one that we're going to be working on is we're actually going to be working on setting up a... What? Oh, it's bugged. Hang on 1 second, chat. Uh-oh. Hang on. Woo! I don't know why that was freaking out like that. Excuse me. Yo, Mr. Kappa, thank you for the 5 months, man. Thank you for that resub, my dude. How are you? Thank you for that prime sub. Pet the cat for me. I will try to. Where'd you go? Edward. He normally comes. He does not seem to be coming. Oh, Jesus. He came. There you go. He's like, Dad, I wasn't ready for this. Okay, goodbye. Okay, go that way. You're your own kitty. Do your own thing. All right, cool. So anyways, thank you again, Mr. Kappa, for the 5 months. I appreciate that, dude. Lagesh, my bad. What's up, dude? How's it going? That is a cute cat. Thank you, my dude. I appreciate that as well. Yeah, he's a sweet boy. He's almost 9 years old now. He's an older boy. Okay, so let's talk about some stuff. So like I said, I found myself in a scenario where I was like, okay, I'm going to have to do some things before I can really get ourselves into a place that we need to be in. A few of those changes we want to make is just like, we want to be able to make multiple Kubernetes clusters. Okay. To be able to do that, we need to be able to access the network within our where our Kubernetes clusters exist to be able to manage them. Right now, the runner exists in the cluster. I'm sorry, not the runner. The VPN service exists in the cluster. So if we try creating another cluster, that's fine, but we'd have no way of being able to access the cluster directly, essentially from a third party or from a third location, essentially, that would not be impacted by changes like destroying of the cluster or vice versa. And so this is kind of crucial, because if we can't do that, then we don't really have the ability to have real good flexibility with like, all right, cool, I want to create this cluster really fast, or I want to destroy this one, or okay, I want to move from this and this. It really makes sense to kind of make sure we have easy access to our network, so that we can run the automation that we need to, make sure everything's in sync, and not really be worried about like, okay, how do I connect to it? How do I like, do all these other things? Can I ask you a question regarding DevOps? Sure, absolutely. Go ahead. While you do that, I'm going to keep working. So basically what we want to do is we want to set up basically just a VM in the cloud. That's it. We're going to create a VM in the cloud. And this is going to have our VPN service running on it. Now, to be honest with you, we could also set up like an actual VPN service if we wanted to. However, we already use one. It's called TwinGate. I use it at work. I really like it. If you've ever heard of like, I think it's called Tailscale, it's very similar. WireGuard, they all kind of very similar in the sense that how they work basically. But what we want to do is we want to set up first off, we want to make sure that we have our VPN set up, which I'm pretty sure that is already set up. And then after we have that set up, we want to make sure that we have our machine runner set up. Now, the goal here is to have basically a satellite node that can access everything, right? This CI runner is where all of our local network automation needs to run. We don't need to run everything here, though we could, and it might even be worth it just because, you know what I mean? It would save us money in the sense of we could technically remove our CircleCI costs. However, we're not going to worry about that right now. The main goal at the moment is just to make sure that we can run our automation on it to be able to access our networks and like internal Kubernetes clusters and stuff like that. So let me go ahead and actually hold on 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. I had to log into Amazon. Is TwinGate similar to Teleport? Could you give me a link to Teleport, and then I can tell you. Thank God my coffee's about to be here. My throat is dry. I need something to drink, man. All right, so let's go to EC2 instances running. Now we have 4 instances running. However, this makes me a little worrisome because I'm pretty sure these are all cluster instances. Hang on, my drink is here. 1 second. Sorry, Chad. I needed my coffee. It was important. Put you like over here. There. Now we're not just like promoting Starbucks in the off side of the screen. All right. So yeah, I don't think this is what we want. Let's go to Lucid chart really quickly. Okay. Now I want to show you guys basically, the teleport thing. Yeah, kind of, I guess, kind of. Yeah, it's like resource-based access, yeah. Event Plumi network. Okay. So, sorry that this is a little blinding, but this is actually what our networking looks like in Amazon at the moment. Yo, what's up, DevOps with Brian? How's it going, buddy? So, basically, we have our virtual private cloud, right? Here, let's just do this. I'm sorry, it's too bright, even for me, this early in the morning. Text. Let's make you. Nope, that's not the color I thought you were gonna be. Okay. I don't know where white is. That's weird. Why isn't it showing me the color that I'm looking for? Here, let's just go like this. Boop. There. Okay. Oh, wait. Actually, hold on. And then let's do the connectors as well, the color. And now you want to be that color. Nice. You're just throwing me off my game entirely right now, aren't you? I wish there was a way to just simply invert it. Because the thing is like sometimes you need it in one mode, depending on what you're publishing it to, and sometimes you need it in other modes. Oh, this is frustrating. Okay, I think everything is pretty... Oh, no, we missed one. There we go. Okay. Recabic, I enjoy it. I mean, like I said, we use it at work. It's a pretty easy solution. We like it. Like, I'm not saying it's the best one out there. I know there's like open source options too and stuff like that. That's just what I'm used to. And, you know, we might change it at some point. I'm not even saying we'll stay with them forever. All right, so here's our virtual private cloud, right? Now, our VPC is like the main networking unit in Amazon, right? It's the main thing that like, you know, isolates everything and all of your resources, right? What we have from there is a I guess you could just say an internet gateway, right? So we attach an internet gateway to make sure that we have public subnets, or is the ability to also connect to the internet. And then we set up a basic route table routing 000 out through that internet gateway, right, out to the internet. We have our public subnet, and inside of that public subnet, we actually have a VPN NAT gateway, or VPC NAT gateway, right? If you guys don't know, basically, NAT gateways have to exist in public subnets because they are what provide internet to the rest of your private subnets. And so in this case, what we do is we also, in our public subnet, drop a NAT gateway with an elastic IP address. And then that basically gives us our internet access for private subnets. And we have a private route table set up for that. Private subnet, right? So both private subnets route through our private route table. 000 goes out to the NAT gateway, right out that way, right? If you're in the public subnet, however, this guy goes out that way. Outside of that, we also have our security group, default security group, and a VPC network access control list. So basically just like two main things that every VPC has, the ability of kind of locking down the whole networking layer if you need to with your access control list. And then your security group, which is, you know, just like the main, hey, if you're in this VPC, then you can access me. And so at the moment, we've just got VMs running in the private subnet. And as I said before, our connector is running inside of the Kubernetes cluster. And so what we really want to do is, hold on, chat. What we really want to do is we want to create a new guy like this. Page settings. Go to this. Cool. All right. What we really want to do is something like this. We want to say like, okay, well, we have a few things. We have our Circle or our CI runner. Let's make it text that we can actually read. There we go. CI runner. And then we also have, let's go ahead and make sure we have a logically like understanding of what our VPC looks like as well, just so that we, public subnet, where did you go? Virtual private cloud. Cool. Okay. So our CircleCI runner, or our CI runner, basically, it might not always be CircleCI, but our CI runner needs to exist into some kind of network or some kind of subnet. It's really up to us if we wanted it to be in a private network or in a public network. I guess it really doesn't matter. However, one thing to note about this is that if this is the VPN, this might also be your first connectivity to the network. And so in this sense, you might want to make sure that you have some kind of connectivity. Oh, I'm sorry, this isn't the CI runner. It's the VPN service right now. My bad. The VPN service, your VPN service might be the first thing that you're trying to connect to once you set up your virtual private cloud so that you can get access to networks or services inside of it. And so what I think we'll end up doing as well is let's say something like this. Let's grab like a client, right? and we'll say that this, for example, is the developer, right? Or me in this case. I should be able to go directly to the VPN service over, like, say 22, right? And maybe we don't always make that, but maybe that is something that we can do so that if we need to check the VPN service, right, then we can through like a kind of like a mini backdoor. And so, yeah, that's going to be another thing that we're going to make sure that we have the ability to do is that not only our VPN instance, I guess, is it going to be set up, but we should be able to SSH into just this specific instance. Thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate you. Have a good rest of your day, evening, whatever. Have a good one, though. Yeah, so we're going to make sure that the VPN instance can be SSHable, right, from our machine and only our machine. Let's see, what else? I think that's really it. Yeah, I think that's really it. Now, this instance right now is completely manually created in the sense of the service running. We do have automation around creating the instance, like the actual cloud instance, but the service inside of it, that's manual. So I kind of want to take a step back and make sure that this process is completely solved for. And I think one of the ways that we need to do that is we need to make sure that when the VPN instance itself starts, we also need to make sure that it can run our VPN service, so everything just immediately kind of comes up and online. So to do that, we first need to deploy our instance. So let's deploy the instance first, because like I said, right now, these are all just cluster services. And if we wanted to actually twin gate stop, twin gate start. So again, like I said, we already have a VPN running in our cluster. So if I run twin gate locally, I should be able to access it. So hang on one second. Okay, so EKS update kubeconfig, K9s, and then secrets, K9s. Cool. All right, so yeah, you can see here we've already got CircleCI running in the old cluster, but we want to disconnect from that, right? Like we want to basically be able to make it so that the CircleCI runner and the VPN service are not in the cluster, so that if the cluster goes down, that's not a problem. And we're actually going to be doing this with other things too, like Postgres and Redis and stuff like that. Those are things that we're also going to be moving to avoid that problem. Yeah, and so here you go. Here's our twin gate connectors right here. Can you explain high level the difference between a Pulumi over Terraform? Basically, it's just the ability of using a programming language. If you enjoy being able to, write for loops in an actual like general purpose language, then that would be why. If you like to be able to have, unit tests in the language that you choose and, stuff like that, then that's why. I personally have enjoyed using it more and have really, I use it now pretty much consistently because I have grown to appreciate that benefit of being able to simply just say like, all right, I'm going to write a for loop in a way that I know how to write a for loop and not be like asking myself what the count is or a for each, or like if I should to set something because it doesn't know which one's which, like it's stuff like that. Yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, so we want to basically get these two machines out of there, or these two containers out of this cluster. Okay. So before we can provision our VPN, what I would like to do is I would like to create, and this is where what we're doing today comes in. I would like to create a pre-packaged instance, and that instance can basically just be ran by automation and started. I know I could do cloud init here if I wanted to. However, I would much rather do it this way. I like Packer. I think it's a good piece of software. I actually think it's not used nearly as much as it could be. I think a lot of us, use containerization and stuff like that, but everything that sits underneath those containers, it's actually a very nice piece of software. All right, it's actually a really nice piece of solving that automation for that layer. I use Packer to build AMI. So I use yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very nice. Basically, anything in the EC2 level for automation. For example, creating Kubernetes clusters, right? Excuse me. You could create a Packer for your managers and your workers. Yep. And it uses HCL, which isn't terrible, but it's not necessarily my favorite either. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't actually think I need this, and I don't think I need this either. And the reason why I say that is because I read the documentation. That's why. Okay, so Packer config. Data sources overview. Yeah, so this is basically what we're looking for, except for we want Jammy, right? So Ubuntu Xenial 1604, we want Ubuntu Jammy 2204 AMD server. Yeah, that looks right. So then how do we use that? That's the thing I don't know. Example.id. Okay, so it's example. Okay, so it's .id. Cool. And so yeah, if you guys don't know what Packer is, actually, before I hop into this really quickly, Packer is basically an option to automate and create machine images, really, as it says. And so say you create a bunch of EC2 instances in the cloud, and you have like manual automation running every time they start, right? Maybe, I don't know, maybe there's some cloud init stuff you do or whatever. You could solve that as well with Packer if you needed to. Now, there might be like, oh, I need to, join a cluster when it starts. That's not what we're talking about here. However, it does mean that it could solve for creating the image that, has the code prepackaged with it, so that when the instance starts, it has your own code per se, than say, cloud in it, or something like that. And that's very powerful, right? But it's basically the ability of saying, all right, I want to create my own, AMI, or my own, whatever. In this case, it's going to be an instance AMI. And I want it to run a series of commands before, we basically say, okay, this is my AMI, package it, right? And make it so that I can easily reuse this image over and over. And that's the key here, right? Is it's basically, as it says, images as code. The idea is that you write a configuration, Packer runs that, runs those commands against an instance in the cloud to create the instance that you expect. Sorry, thought my cats were doing something. And then that expected result is then shut down, turned into a image, and then becomes reusable for all of your instances that you need going forward. So for example, if I really wanted to, right, if I said I wanted to, I wanted to create, 90, I don't know, VPN services for some reason, I wouldn't have to worry about, I guess the only thing I'd have to make sure of is each VM having its own specific, authentication flow, make sure that doesn't break. Because of course, you might not be able to run the same thing with the same token twice. But outside of that, if I want to run like 90 of them, it would just be create, right? That's literally it. It would be prepackaged with everything it has inside of it. Now, we have two use cases for this right now, and we're kind of looking at the first one. However, I kind of got ahead of myself here because we also have a secondary one that I need to create. So what we're going to do is we're going to create two separate directories, and we're actually going to be creating a whole new Packer repository, right? And so this is going to be very interesting because I've never actually ran, like, I'm wondering if, like, does that mean we run Packer in the cloud against the cloud? Like, that's very interesting. So we'll see. At Hippo, I think we don't have a lot of things in Packer right now. I'd like to see us do more, actually. That'd be really cool. So I think all of our stuff is actually manual. But it'll be interesting to see how to automate this. But anyways, yeah, let's create our 2 directories. So the first directory is going to be our twin gate. Twin gate. I forget what they're called. Connector. Yeah, connector. And then the next one is going to be our CircleCI machine agent, I think it's called. CircleCI machine. It might be machine runner, actually, now that I think about it. Self-hosted runner. But is it the machine one? No, see, this is the Kubernetes one. Yeah, the machine runner. That's what it's called. Machine runner. So we're going to create 2 separate Packer configurations for each one of these things. And we're going to start with the twin gate one. So actually what we'll do is we'll say CircleCI twin gate machine to connector. And then runner. Actually here. Runner. And then runner. There we go. And have a changelog. Yep. In my opinion, the Packer docs are not very intuitive. Yes, I don't disagree. Unfortunately, Packer got created. It didn't get as much hype as they expected, and I don't know if maybe it's just not as loved as much. I don't know if maybe it's just not getting as much of the love as it should be. But I don't disagree. We'll get through it. Don't worry. We'll get through it together though. I believe this. Packer works for Windows. Yes, it does. Yep. Packer's done some pretty cool stuff. Yo, what's up, Melky? How's it going, buddy? Shout out to Melky. I have to remember to not say the dev anymore because I'm so used to saying Melky dev. How are you, sir? How was life? Did you dev the FFmpeg? I did. But we are doing some technical debt work at the moment to make sure that we don't mess up the FFmpeg. How's it going, Love Freedom? How's it going? Jules, how's it going as well? What's up, dude? Thornity, hello. Just hanging and chilling. Yeah, I feel you, dog. I feel you. I'm just obsessed with working, so it's I don't know. That's all I know what to do. I have no life. I'm sitting here trying to create mother CI runners in the cloud. What am I doing with my life? On a stream. Although I do have a cat, so that's nice. Okay. Oh, I like CircleCI. Yeah, me too, Edward. Me too. I used to like CircleCI. Not as much these days. We actually might have a little spoilers around that in the future. Let's just say this might not be the only set of Packer instances we're creating. We might be trying some other runners here in the future. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with Packer. Like I said, it's basically just something that allows you to create instances that are automated machine images basically in the cloud. And that's what we're trying to do. And we're going to create our twin gate connector first. Define package. So I'm going to be real. I haven't worked with it in such a long time that we're kind of starting this together. I've definitely used it before, which is irritating because I used to know all the commands and it's just figments of my memory now. I can't remember it all because I don't know. I do too much, man. Yeah, no, I know. I am trying to navigate the docs and like said earlier, it's not the best here. Get started. There we go. Web services. Okay, we've already installed Packer. All right. Write a package template. Here we go. So do we need this? I guess that's a question is do they Packer required plugins, Amazon. Interesting. Source, Amazon EBS. Amazon or data AMI. Amazon EBS. T2 micro. Source AMI filter. Oh, you can drop a filter right on that Mamma Jamma. However, I don't know. I kind of like it being its own separate data filter. Although I guess it would still fail the same way, huh? We'll keep it separate for now. We'll try it. Well, once we know it's working, we'll move it. I am curious about this plugin though, because they seem to be like, if this is Xenial, bro, this was like 4 years ago. Yeah, here we go. An example, yeah, that's funny. I was like, let's make sure. Yeah, geez, V121. Okay, let's bump that. Always check your versions, chat. All right, before you install your plugins. All right, always check your versions. Good God, that was an older plugin. Yeah, they really don't. That's why I'm going to actually look at it here. How to use it. Authentication. Ooh, they dox themselves. Did you get Starbucks delivered? Shut up, Melky. Shut up. Just shut. Listen. Shut up. Not always. Sometimes, all right? Not always, but if it's, do you know what it's called, Melky? It's called a business expense, all right? That's no. It's a business expense. Although I do need to get back to making my own coffee. What are the reasons that CircleCI has declined? Oh, I mean, I don't know why they're failing. Sorry, shots fired. Yeah, the security breach sucked. Massive wieners. The security breach sucked. It was bad. It just was bad. I'm just gonna be real. It was bad. It was not fun. Like, I lost at least 2 days of my life due to that stupid security breach. No, oh, and actually, Melky, you know what's funny, dude, is I have a pour over like you do. Sorry, I just thought about that. But yeah, no, I lost 2 days of my life to that nonsense. They go out a lot, dude. They go out a lot as well. Like, we have all of our provider services, like all of their statuses being sent to a channel. So we get like webhook updates. And dude, we just get like constant, like CircleCI goes out a lot. GitHub actually goes out a lot more than you expect it to. Although I will say this about GitHub. GitHub's like main core services rarely go out. It's really their like subsidiary services like pages or, you know, PRs or something. Like, I mean, PRs are kind of important. You know what I mean? It's not like you can't clone, right? That rarely happens. But like CircleCI often has like, we're delayed with pipelines by 20 minutes. Sorry about that, guys. And it's just like, cool. Have you guys it's like that scene in I think it's Space Force or whatever, the TV series where the guy's like check the thing to see how close the asteroid is from us, and then like the fucking computer fails and it's Microsoft. And he's like, I gotta wait 30 minutes before the update can happen. Like, it's just like, oh, all right, well, especially when there's like time crunches to have your pipelines delay, it's not fun. That's been happening a lot. The security breach was not fun. I'm gonna be honest with you, their support has not been great at getting back to us either. You know, now again, these are my own. Let me be fair on this. These are my own, you know, opinions. You know, don't think that I represent all of the Hippo company. However, I don't know, man. It's been a lot. It's been a lot. So, you know, we might be looking at some other stuff. It does not look great. No, it does not, unfortunately. It really does not. All right. So anyways, let's keep moving from Packer. Okay, so let's do a Packer init really quickly. Packer in it. Oh, what? I don't have Packer? Hold on. Good one, Melky. Good one. Like it's clever, you know what I mean? Like I can't not appreciate it. Wait, what? Install the missing plugins required. Note that this command. What? Oh. Probably should do it in. Wait, what? From copy and paste this code into your Packer configuration to install this plugin. Is that not what we just did? Maybe I need the greater than thing. Like, do I actually need Semver here? No, you don't. I'm just gonna say it. You should not need Semver there in that regard. Can't package lock this. I'm gonna lose my mind. Did I maybe not install the right thing? Let's just make sure that I accidentally installed the right thing. Or that I actually installed the right thing, not accidentally. Source. Packer.io. No, that's right. That is in fact the right thing. What am I doing? So Melky, we're rewriting Quirk, basically. That's the high level. And we're also rewriting our I'm packing. He's bagging. I'm also rewriting something else. However, that's not the main thing at the moment. The reason why I'm telling you that is because I realized that there were some things that I had to do before I could, like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, Tails all the time. Yeah. Before I could refactor properly. So yeah, actually, Rust and Go, a mixture of the two, and actually even like Python. Like I'm not. I told chat that I would not. Well, no. So I want to be fair. I told chat that I would not. Like just say we're gonna use one language everywhere. We'll try specific languages and see which ones we like. And I'm gonna be real. Right now, there's a strong there's a strong part of a chance, or sorry, there's a strong chance, Jesus, that we're actually going to be running Python for a lot of our like video processing stuff, just because it works really well with the tools that we're using. And also, if we wanted to, we could lean into other things like machine learning and things like that too. So I'm not going to limit it by the language. I don't want to. I'd rather just build really cool shit. And so, yeah. To get us there, there's a couple of things that we need to do first. Are you using GCP or AWS? AWS. Yeah, we're using AWS. There's a couple of things that we need to do to get there. First, we kind of need to clean up the automation. A lot of the automation right now. Why Pulumi? Why not CDK? Yeah, I'll explain it. So a lot of the automation right now is separated into its own like individual repositories, based off of the concerns and problems we need to solve, right? And actually, here, let me show you guys something. Hold on. So I'm going to actually be making YouTube videos on this. So be sure to subscribe to the YouTube. But what I realized was a lot of people might not know how we set up automation at not only Alto 4, but also Hippo, where I work. And we basically do it by separation of concerns, right? So like we solve source control within our Pulumi GitHub, right? And we create things like repositories, branch protections, team repositories, right? All that kind of stuff. So basically, a lot of this automation is obviously custom. It's using a lot of like language specific things, right? And that's really why I don't use CDK. I don't want to just generate JSON, which is what CDK really basically does with its synthesize. And on top of it, I'm also not trying to be vendor locked. So So two things to note. One, we're also solving our problems based off of what cloud provides the best solution, right? If Amazon had a really great source control solution, then we'd probably be running it in Amazon, right? And that's why you'll notice like all of these automation repositories that we have here, they don't have anything related to cloud specific things, right? Source control, DNS, network, VPN, Kubernetes, bucket, container, database, machine user, messaging. There's no vendor lock in here. You know what I mean? In any way, shape, or form. And that's purposeful. That's because if I wanted to, and here's the fun part, you ready? If I go into network, I actually have the ability of creating networks in both Azure and AWS because we solve it from a networking layer. And we say, hey, we're just going to have Pulumi network, right? This automation's written in Go. And we provide two different options. From an AWS, we even have a cost breakdown of how much it costs us to create this and maintain this at like a full scale, usage, right? And so you see here, like AWS, we have the ability of creating a VPC. Here, let me zoom in for you guys, my bad. We have the ability of creating a VPC, right? All those things I actually told you guys about before, like literally the chart I just showed you guys. the literal chart I just showed you guys, right? Where'd it go? I don't know where it went. But yeah, that networking chart I showed you, like that's this. You get this out of the box, right? And the same thing for Azure. Although Azure is a lot easier. Azure, you just do resource group, virtual network, and then subnets. But that's basically what we are creating. And again, I'm going to make YouTube videos out of these. I think this could be really helpful for a lot of people. However, as I started like evaluating all of these automation repositories, I realized that some of these weren't completely up to date. And that's, Melky, where we get to what we're doing today. We have source control good, right? So we have Pulumi GitHub, which sets up all of our GitHub repositories. It's written in TypeScript. It gives us repositories, branch protections, team repositories, teams, and then team members, right? If we look at DNS, we have all of our DNS stuff. So in AWS, we can create zones, AMX, all that kind of stuff, right? We can do the same thing in Cloudflare if we need to. Network is good to go. We can create networks in both Amazon and AWS and Azure. However, VPN is where it becomes a problem. Now, at the moment, we have automation set up for this, right? We have automation set up for this. But this EC2 instance is manually managed from a service level, Melky. Okay, this is where your question is. We get it. So what happens is when this EC2 instance is created, it's just a blank instance. There's no real twin gate connector running inside of it. And so what I want to do is I want to solve this problem right here, right? This little guy right here with Packer. Packer being a machine, automated machine instance builder. We're going to build the EC2 instance and automate that so that when we run our Pulumi VPN automation, we're not just going to get some random AMI. We're going to get our AMI with our twin gate connector already created inside of it so that it can just run, right? And this is one of the things I wanted to fix, because if we can fix this, then we can easily deploy, redeploy, all of that good stuff and manage our VPN the way that we need to. Another thing to note is we probably want this instance. So let's do like a note. No, I forget what it's called. This is hard. What do you mean, dude? This is easy. What are you talking about? This is day-to-day stuff right here. We will want to create the smallest, right, VM possible. And I think this is a T3A small, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's the like smallest current VM that you can get. Honestly, Melky, it's just a lot of documentation. That's all it is. It's just like building documentation on documentation, right? Like there's building software on software, but then there's like taking documentation and being like, okay, This solves this problem. This solves this problem. This solves this problem. Okay, we're going to look over here for when we're worried about this. We're going to look over here for when we're worried about this. You know. Yo, MJ, what's up, man? How's it going? Welcome. And everything. You could also just use a single VPS with everything, and if it gets nuked, I mean, it's however you want to build FMA 100. Wait, what? What are we talking about? This has nothing to do with FFmpeg at the moment, to be clear. We're building an instance right now. By the way, Melky, if you do have questions, dude, or if anybody has questions, like, feel free to ask. That's what I'm here for. So it does look like I did actually set up Packer in it folder. Oh, I think I need a dot. Yeah, that's what I need. So a config. Oh, really? Okay. Okay. Nice. Good to have you though, MJ. You like the abstraction? Well, again, Rekabic, I think a lot of people will. And I think that's like, again, why I want to make a YouTube video for it. Run shit. Yeah. I asked earlier, but how are you liking Doppler? I thought about testing it for secrets. Oh, I love it. Yeah. So I'm going to be fair. Doppler, I think in my mind, really solves the local dev problem. Chef's kiss. I really think it does. Anything outside of that, it's up to you, man. I know it's got really cool features like rolling secrets. I know it's got really cool features like, you know, being able to retrieve CLI or secrets via CLI and stuff like that. Yeah, okay, so comparison to Vault, like, they solve the same problem. You know, Vault can rotate secrets, so can Doppler, right? I would argue that Vault from an enterprise level is actually a little nicer, just because its user interface is not as like cluttered. Like here, I can show you this. Like if we go to my Doppler account, oh my god, dude, this is so much. Hold on. Yeah, like look, this is all of the projects. It's just like it's a lot, and it is kind of hard to manage this, and or not manage this, but like navigate. Like I thankfully have decent, you know, structuring and naming conventions and stuff. So like I know quirks all towards the end, and like, you know, it's alphabetical at least, thankfully. But you know, it's like this compared to like the really nice I wish they had a compartment version or a compact version. You know, yeah, I do, but. Beggars can't be choosers, I guess. I don't know. Okay, so we've got the required plugins part now, and we want to get the latest Ubuntu AMI we can. Now, we want to get Jammy, right? So we're going to get Jammy 2204 AMD 64 server. Did you see a Twitch bot in here? Ours, probably. And then we have our source EBS, which is our twin gate connector, Ultra4LC twin gate connector. Timestamp. Okay. Okay, so calc. I want to quickly look at the calculator because I'd really rather not use T2s. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter for this, but I am curious to know for the VPN service I think it's T3As. Yeah. Nano. I want to say we need at least I want to say we need at least 2 gigs. But you know what? We almost may only need 1 gig. I mean, that's not a lot of memory. A single gigabit. T3A is small. If we just say straight up on demand is $13 a month. That's not bad. I mean, again, it'll probably be more, but more like $20 a month, but yeah. If we did the other one, it's 6. Holy crap. How much memory does this use in the cluster at the moment? I'm curious. Because I can actually see. Oh, maybe I can't. I thought we had metrics in this. Oh, what? Oh, that sucks. I don't know where my metrics went. I used to have metrics in the cluster, but I guess now we don't. We're not doing anything with FFmpeg. At least right now. Oh yeah, no. I know. I'm talking about the actual VPN service. DevOps with Brian. Yeah, I'm just talking about the VPN service. I know that's what that builds with. And I understand why they made it that too, because that's the free, like, you know what I mean? That's the free one. Okay, so I think we just do that because we want source AMI, Ubuntu.id, Ubuntu username, sources, source.ebs. This, I don't entirely remember what this means. Twin gate connector. What exactly does sources mean again? I feel like I'm going to need to read this. So we set up our plugins here. We then get the image here. We then actually set up the source here. Now, again, I'm just going to create a basic one just to start, and then we'll start putting in our own stuff. Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, I jump around. I jump context a lot, so disregard. It's not you, it's me. Okay, so data, we're good. Source, Amazon EBS. So it says that the one that they should recommend is the Amazon EBS is the default, I guess. AMI name, AMI description, AMI users, AMI groups, tags. No, I think all of that's good. I don't think there's anything else I really want to add at the moment. Role. Assume role. Assume role lets user set operations for assuming a specific role when executing Packer. Oh, nice. That's cool. Instance type, source AMI. So, okay, so instance type and source AMI are configured or required basically. So instance type and source AMI, yeah. Optional availability zones. So I guess here's a question is how does it know which VPC to run it in? Or does it just really like I feel like don't we kind of need a VPC to select? Yeah, no, I mean, I was about to say, yeah, it's gotta use some VPC. It's, yeah, it's gotta use something. So yeah, it probably uses the default in US West too, if that's the case. Volume, virtual, no device, IOPS, encrypted device name, delete on termination. Interesting. So here's their basic example. Now, right now, we don't have to do this because we're just going to be passing these environment variables directly. The docs are not great. Yeah, that's why I'm trying to move through them as quickly as I possibly can. Access to the instance to debug. So some SSH username, AMI. Build template data. Build region, source AMI. Shared volume data. Post processor. Again, we're not going to go too crazy with this. Like, I'm really trying not to here. Okay. I think all we really need to do, chat, is just run it. Build an image. Okay. The build block. Okay. The build block defines what Packer should do with the instance after it launches it. In the example template, the build block references the AMI defined by the source block above. Source Amazon or Amazon EBS Ubuntu. You will add the provision block. Postpress. Okay. Okay. Authenticate to AWS. I've already got that. We've already done the Packer init. Format and validate your Packer template. Okay. So Packer format. Packer validate. Okay. Build a package. Okay, so we're going to do secrets, Packer, build, and then our main thing. All right, and we failed. No subnets found for the default VPC. Please specify a subnet. So this is probably because I have changed how routing works. So let's do this. Wait, what? Subnet ID. If using a VP, okay, so here, we'll grab this. So I'm gonna have to, does that mean, can I get data? Interesting. Filters to populate the subnet. So subnet filter. Okay, here we go. This is what we're looking for. The sub is, wait, is it this? Yeah, it's this. Okay. Let's try that again. So here, let's add our subnet filter. Build most free random false. Okay, so we don't want that. However, let's go here. Let's go to VPC. VPC. Subnets. I'm lazy, Brian. So, oh, never mind. I thought you were talking about me not using the CLI tool for this. I was like, yeah, no, I'm just lazy. I'm just being lazy. Okay, so Alt F4. So name. So we can really use any of these that have the name Alt F4 blah blah, right? Like that's basically what we could use as a, because I don't think we have any other. Do we have any tags on this? We do. Name. Yeah, we don't have anything. Nice. So we could filter by the name. Okay. So tag name. Now here's a question. If I do this, will that work? Most free random false. Actually, you know what we could do? We see your IP. What? I don't care if you see my IP. It's called firewall rules. Okay. I think this should work. I'm not entirely sure. I'm wondering if maybe for now we should just put it in the public one, because I could just use 2A here and we could just call it a day. You know what I mean? We'll just do that. We'll just use 2A for now. All right, let's try this again. Okay, cool. All right. We go here. EC2. Should have a new instance popping up here. Yep, there it is. Boom, right there. Yo, what's up, Boston? Yo. Awesome. Yeah. There's a coffee there for you. Yeah. Cool. All right, so yeah, so far so good. Just waiting for SSH to become available. No, I know. I'm just gonna delete this. We're not gonna be keeping this. I just want to make sure we can run through everything. All right, there we go. Instance is stopped. And we should be able to go to AMIs. Now, this is going to create twin gate connector 16769243969. So we should be seeing an AMI pop up here soon with that name. Oop, hey, look at that. Boop, there's the name. There it is. Cool. So yeah, it looks like we are in business at least. So now what we need to do is we need to at least figure out a couple things here. We need to figure out the runner installation. The matrix is born. All right, so to set up an agent, they want us to save the launch agent.sh script file and run that mamma jamma. All right, we can do that. That seems pretty straightforward. Is the music still going? Yeah, the music's still going. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's already a shell script. Yeah. Exactly. I pick things well, I shouldn't say that. I don't always do this. I try to pick things normally that are easier to do on stream. But you know, hit or miss. Okay. So, I guess I don't remember where you add commands and stuff. Like, I guess maybe we should just go to build an image. So we're going to delete the AMI and then the snapshot with it. Yeah, no, we'll get there. We'll get there. Provision. Okay. In the previous tutorial, you created your first Packer. However, the image you built essentially repackaged an AMI. Yes. The utility of Packer comes from automated provisioning in order to install and configure software in the machines prior to turning them into images. Historically, pre-baked images have been frowned upon because changing them was so tedious and slow. Because Packer is completely automated, including provisioning images can be changed quickly and integrated with modern configuration management tools such as Chef or Puppet. In this tutorial, you will complete your image by installing Redis on it. Okay, we're not going to be doing that, but you get it. Although pre-installing Redis on your AMI is a small example, it should give you an idea of what provisioners can do. Oh, okay, I see. So provisioners are the things. Okay, I get it. It's a way of like logically grouping steps and stuff. Okay, I see. So yeah. So again, really quickly, Freedom. Anybody else who's just tuning in, hi. Thank you for being here. I'm BG, one of the co-hosts of the Alt F4 stream. If you're new here, read that. The TLDR is yes, we are building instance images. We're not building Docker images, right? We're not actually building any kind of like containerized image, but we're building images for EC2 and other cloud instances so that we can just run instances and start them. So I'm going to go ahead and run this. To write your first provisioner, the provisioner is basically going to be the thing that we want to be able to run our commands in, right? We first had the build itself. So if we go back here, right, we have Packer at the top. This loads Packer basically into our configuration as well as any other plugins. Then we have the AMI that we want. In this case, we got Jammy, right, 2204. And then we set up our EBS source, which is our twin gate connector source, we'll say. And actually, this is not technically, I guess, right? I guess what this is better to say is this is a Amazon or EC2 Ubuntu, right? Because it's kind of just like well, I guess it's just an Ubuntu source, really, right? So this is the source, because I don't think source here is a really good example or really good reason. Or sorry, I don't think it's good to call it twin gate connector instance, although that's what we want it to be created as. Well, maybe it does make sense to do that. Never mind. We'll just keep it as that for now. Okay, I see. But yeah, we basically say that the AMI name is going to be Alta4 LLC twin gate connector, timestamp. We do it in a T2 micro. The region we set it in, as well as the source AMI that we found before. And then the SSH username, which will be Ubuntu. We also set up the subnet filter so that we can find a subnet to actually set this up in. And we say that we will have it get set up in US West 2A, which is our public subnet, which will basically go out through the internet gateway that I showed you guys earlier. And then we build. So our sources in this case is going to be source Amazon EBS twin gate connector. And then now we need to add our provisioner. So here's the thing that, okay, so they say that their source is just Ubuntu. I think maybe this does need to be Ubuntu. Learn Packer Linux OS, yeah. I think this makes more sense to call this Ubuntu. Ubuntu. If I could spell Ubuntu right. Twin gate connector Ubuntu. There we go. Yeah. Okay. So there's our source, provisioner template. Using provisioners allows you to completely automate modifications to your image. You can use shell scripts, file uploads, and integrations with modern configuration. Find source SSH communicator by specifying attribute. Packer is able to SSH in the instance, a temporary key pair. Perfect. Okay. To write your first provisioner, thank you for the follow. Add the following block to your Packer template inside the block underneath your source's assignment. Okay. So we're going to say underneath source, we're going to have provisioner. Oh, wait, provisioner. Oh, I see. It's in build. Oh, I see. Okay. That's weird. What? Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to go there. Really? That's where it goes? Your build should look like the following. Okay. I feel like this is just like a simple way of showing you. Yeah, I was like, I feel like this is just a simple way of showing you how to do it. Like, there's no way. Can I just see the normal way? I don't want to do it their way. Wait, how do you do it the non-inline way? Documentation. Wow, this documentation really is bad. Oh, it is so difficult to sift through this. Provisioner shell inline. Yo, Crasita, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you for being here. And the sub, man. Thank you. Glad you're enjoying yourself. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Right. Okay. So, provision. I guess we'll just do it the inline way for now, whatever. Okay, so what are they? Let's go back here. Oh, I'm sorry. We're looking at the wrong thing. We need to go to TwinGate. However, I might not be able to share this on screen because I think the TwinGate connector has a variable in it. So we are going to need to inject an environment variable now that I think about it. If we go back to where we were before, where's environment variables? I forget. Nope. Build an image. Nope. Damn it. I forget how to declare environment variables. No, those are normal variables. Local variable. Packer environment variables. I thought there was a way to inject environment variables. Huh. I just saw it. I could have sworn I just saw it. Guides. Packer introduction. Man, this documentation is terrible. Holy crap. Yeah, this is just like going through a maze, dude. Holy crap. Documentation. Dude, I almost forgot what I'm looking for. Oh boy. Try the search. Yeah, I mean, I guess we could. Yeah, see, that does absolutely nothing for us. Oh, maybe up here. Environment variables. Using variables. It's the same page. Using home variable. Home, env home. Environment variables. Here we go. Environment variables can use with your templates using user variables. The M function is available only within the default value of a user variable, allowing you to default a user variable to an environment variable. Variables, my secret, env, my secret. That doesn't feel like the same thing that I just saw though. Like there was an example with Amazon, I feel like there was a tutorial where it was like get started with AWS. Yeah, build an image. But see, they had like, I thought they had like var. Maybe I'm just losing my mind, dude. Maybe that could be it. Maybe I'm just like actually losing my mind. Oh, dang. Thanks, Diamond Dog. I appreciate that. What's up, buddy? Okay, so we really need to figure out how to inject this as an environment variable so that we can grab our script. Now, here, I'll show you what we need to do. Hold on. Let me hide. So in TwinGate, what we want to do is we want to add a new connector. We want to basically deploy it. If I click this and I hit delete, it just goes away, right? We've got two connectors currently. These are running in our VPC, right? And so what we want to do is we want to add a new one. So if I click this, we get a brand new one, bipedal, whatever that is. And if I click deploy connector, what it's going to do is it's going to give me a shell script essentially to run inside of the VM, just like, you know, I would run it manually. So hold on one second. Let me get that. The problem is the shell script has the secret in it, so I can't really show it to you. Hold on. Okay, so actually I can show you this before I generate it. So right now I haven't generated any tokens, but it has a bunch of different ways that you can set it up, like Helm, Azure, Linux, right? All of that. We want the Linux approach, right? And what that's going to do is that's going to give us this command right here. Right, so actually if I wanted to, I could just copy this command right here without needing to dox myself. And then we can go back here and we could say paste, right? And this is literally all one line. Like that's it. That's just the only thing we really need. So we can escape these as well. It does, yeah, it does. Yeah, they definitely do. And we want to make sure that we escape every thing. So like that needs to be escaped, that needs to be escaped. That needs to be escaped, that needs, and like right now, if we wanted to as well, we could just say like change me, right? Just something simple so we know that there's text there. Change me, right? Cool. TwinGate URL, that should stay the same. And then this should also be like that, right? All right, there we go. So, oh, also, if we wanted to, I guess, because we could add ourselves some environment variables, right? We make this a little bit easier. We could say TwinGate access token or refresh token and URL, like all three of these things, right? We can actually add these to the variables there, just to make it a little nicer. All right. Grab these, cut that out, and we'll just paste these into here like this. Okay, so now grab this, right? And we don't need this anymore because now we can just do that, do this, right? Do this, like that, and then this as well. Oh, wait, what? There we go. There we go. Oh, whoop, sorry, one more. There we go. Okay, cool. So what we should be able to do now is we're going to set up Packer, right, with Amazon, latest whatever plugin they've got. We then get the latest Ubuntu Jammy, right, that we can get. And then on top of that, we also set up our source, which is Ubuntu. We tell it that we want to create a twin gate connector, right? We tell it the subnet we want to create it in, as well as like SSH username, all that good stuff. And then we build it, right? We set up our source. Once our source is set up, we then have our provisioner. We have our inline provisioner, I guess, here. And we say environment variables, twin gate access token, which will change, refresh token, which will change, and twin gate URL, which can stay, which actually we'll make that, we'll change that later. For right now, it's fine. And then we say inline, we want to curl their twin gate connector, right? Setup, basically, and directly send it to bash. Now, I am kind of curious if they don't have a way of making it so that it can just download a script and run it for us, right? That kind of seems like something that should be possible, because I'm pretty sure that I think you can do it in Ansible. But yeah, this is almost where we need to be entirely for creating this image. The things that we really need to figure out next are just how are we going to get these environment variables in there in a way to where we don't have to be super worried about it. And that's going to be interesting. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to run it, hidden variables. So, okay. So, foo. Don't you Doppler for that? I do. What's up, Glam? How's it going, buddy? But yeah, I normally do Doppler for that. However, I don't. Yeah, I guess I need to think of how. Yeah, we could use Doppler. Actually, we're gonna need to use Doppler. You're 100% right on that one. Yeah, we are gonna use Doppler. So I guess the question is how do we inject how do we get Doppler into our thingy? So okay, so variables. In the previous tutorial, you implemented your first provisioner. However, your Packer template is static. Currently, if you want to change the contents, you need to manually update the template. You use input variables to serve. So, okay, so we don't use environment variables directly. We use their variables, and then we input them essentially. Okay, I think I see. So we've already done all of this. We've done the Packer init. Okay. Packer has two types of variables, input and local. This section, you will use both input and local to generate a unique AMI name. And this way, you don't need to update your AMI before each run. Okay, so variable AMI prefix. Variable blocks declare the variable name, AMI prefix, the data type string, and the default value. While the variable type and the default values are optional, we recommend you define these attributes when creating new variables. So we're saying that the type and the default, the variable type and the default value. Okay, so the only thing you really, okay, so it's just like HCL, bro. Of course it is. It's literally HCL. I'm a big old dummy. All right, so then here's a question. Can you do variable files? You're on HashiCorp, bro. It's fair. I think you can export the variable. So, okay, I'm going to be real. For anyone who's asking about security updates and making sure your instances get updated, you should have what is called ephemeral infrastructure. If you do not know what ephemeral infrastructure is, you're going to want to research that first. Where I work at Hippo, we have what is called ephemeral infrastructure, which means that at any point, at any given time, if I'm going to rip away that instance and add a new one, it just works, right? And when you talk about rolling forward or upgrading, you can do it a couple different ways. You can have your things download and da-da-da-da, or what you could do is you could have your Packer template run on a cron that updates every night, right? And then have another cron that rotates your auto-scaling group so that every night you get new versions of rebuilt or of built Packer images. And that's what ephemeral infrastructure is, basically. It's the idea of your you're not really upgrading. You're just kind of like removing and replacing with newer versions. You know what I mean? The nice thing about that is there's no download, right? You don't have to have every machine. Like, did it get upgraded? Did something fail? Oh no, something didn't get pinned properly. Like, it's just a fudging nightmare, dude. This approach is normally the nicer of just remove it, add a new one, you know? Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Why update when we can throw it away? Exactly. Oh, capitalism. Yeah, but that's really how it works. Yeah. Can we test making those 3 nvar secrets exports, then using the m secret thing and see if it brings in your exports? Can you give me an example on what you mean by that? Just use a gist if you can, DevOps with Brian. Like, I really try and just say, like, use gists. I think we have gist. Do we have gist? Yeah, I got you. Wait, so I don't understand what you wanted me to export that as, though. Then use the m secret example. The m secret example? The m secret example. That's where I'm lost. That's where I don't know what you're talking about. You got to realize how much of this gets lost in translation through chat and delay as well. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dog. You gotta give me something to look at, because I'm streaming is just like continually straight. There's no rolling back. No, you can post links. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so this is the one you're talking about. In order to set user, you must define it within the variable section of your template or using the command line var flags. If you want to use a user variable, okay, I see what you're. Yeah, here, I'll just move it over here. Well, couldn't we just use this? Yeah, you're talking about this one. Yeah, we could try this one. Sure. Okay, so I think we just do env, right? And then instead of my secret, we'll call it twin. Yeah, we'll just literally reuse the same thing, right? Hydrate. Oh, I got you. Actually, I just about killed this. I'm gonna have to go get my tea. Yeah, no, what we're gonna do is we're gonna I need to create a Doppler environment for Packer. So let's create a new project. Packer. So here's a question, chat. What should we call this repository? Should we call it Packer? Oh, you know what? Maybe we call it Packer images, because we have base images, I think. Oh no, that's Hippo. We have base images. So we could have like Packer images, Docker images. Pack me, please. Pack me, daddy. Yeah, maybe we just call it Packer. I don't like calling it just Packer. I feel like that doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? I feel like it needs more, more description. Packing it in. Yeah. Automation for cloud instances. Sure. What is it holding? What you packing? Prod. Let's get rid of this. We don't need prod. And this can become CircleCI, because that's technically what this is going to run. Well, so here's the thing. I don't want to call it AMIs, because if we're going to build images for other cloud providers, we really don't want to do any kind of cloud provider lock-in. If we can avoid it, we really don't want to. So that's what we're trying to make sure we avoid right now. So for example, what's Doppler? Doppler is a secrets management tool that really helps with local development. If you're interested in Doppler, check out that right there. And use our code if you end up liking it. So here's the thing, chat, is we kind of want to do a couple things here. We want to give the environment variables. However, we want to make sure that we're only giving the environments for bipedal Gaharial, whatever the this is. So I think what we want to do is we actually want to do it like this: twin gate access. I know it's longer, but like it's explicit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a big fan of having like super long, environment variables. However, in this case, it might be better, right? Refresh token. And then this would be URL. Oops. Like it stinks, but like this will make sure that we, like, you might be like, hey BG, why are you doing this? Like, why don't you just name it one thing and then don't worry about it later, or and worry about it later. If I know I'm going to be creating more than one, right? And so if I know I'm going to be creating more than one, I think it just makes sense for me to do that separation now, right? One of the things that is a bit of a bummer about this, and this is really just it's really a twin gate problem more than an us problem, is tokens are basically bound to specific runners, So in this case, or at specific services. So in this case, like I don't know if we could run two of the same of these instances. I actually am not sure on that. I know that we could run two separate ones. So like if I came in here and I was like, all right, I want to add another connector, right? Then I could do that side by side, but I don't know how, like, I don't think I could run two bipedal whatever's next to each other. So that's another reason why I'm keeping it separated is I want to make sure that I don't have this accidentally like cross wires. So that does technically mean that we want to do this env is not just this, but actually bipedal whatever, you know what I mean? Maybe not. Yeah, no, we'll keep that like that, and then we'll inject it at a higher level. Yeah. Because these are now just abstracted. Yeah. Automate the automation. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we can keep this like this, though. This is fine. Okay. So now what we need to do is we need to say, what was the URL? There we go. We can at least save that for now. Okay, so they're saying that now. So here's the thing, though. I think I don't want to use an environment variable here. I think I want to actually use an input variable. And you might be like, why? Well, I think it's mostly because I don't want to bind the environment variable name to the thing with this, right? Like we just want to call it twin gate access token, right? We don't want to call it like bipedal whatever. So what I think we want to do instead is I think these need to become user ones. And we need to set them up here. So variables, or no, how does this work again? Why is it only showing me the flippin' JSON version? Oh, templates, HCL templates. There we go. Variables, where's variables? There we go. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so I want something like this. So variable will be twin gate access token, right? And then this will be twin gate refresh, right? And then this will be URL. Okay. Cool. All right. So come on now. There we go. That makes that like that. So now we don't have to bind. Now I know DevOps with Brian, you wanted me to try the other way, but I think you understand why I'm doing it this way. So yeah. Okay. So variables, default type, validation, sensitive. Sensitive. Yes. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yes. Equals true. Equals true. The URL isn't though. The URL, like, I don't really care about the URL. The URL isn't really sensitive. Or we could create a file. Interesting. Auto load definitions file, environment variables. Again, we're not going to actually use environment variables. Yeah, like we want to do something like this. Oh, interesting. Yeah, this is what I was talking about before, chat, where if you give it a prefix of pkr var, then it will just give that variable directly. So you don't have to use the var command. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. This is what I was originally looking for. Yeah. Yo, what's up, Agile? How's it going, buddy? So, okay. Are we using the variables right here with the user thing? So let's do a quick validate. There we go. Unset variable. Okay. So unset variable, unset variable, unset variable. Okay, so let's do. Okay, we got to do something else now, chat. We're gonna do some automation here. We're gonna create a just file, and we're gonna say validate template, right? Now, if you guys don't know what just is, I actually did a YouTube video on it. It's really good. I really highly recommend you check it out. Basically, it's a way of automating. Oh, great. My Firefox just crashed. Hang on. My whole Firefox just crashed. There we go. So if you go to our main YouTube, you'll see that there's a video out there that I created called how to automate your dev CLI tasks. Basically, what I did was what I do in that video is I talk about how using things like task runners and things like that can really help you with running commands that you run a lot and you know you're going to need to run a lot. So what I'm really doing here is I'm solving the problem of, oh, well, I have this command I need to run, packer validate or, whatever. But I want to make sure I'm always, running the same command the right way with the right, arguments, whatever. And so instead of having to do control R or back search or whatever, I add a just file. Now these are very similar to make files and stuff like that. However, just is really focused on just running commands. It's really just focused on task running and has a really good, a lot of really good helpful ways of being able to, facilitate that. So right now, for example, if I just do this and we say echo hi, and actually we'll get rid of that. We'll do that and we'll say just validate echo hi. You see the command that actually gets ran and then you see the output from that, right? So in the circumstance of saying I want to make a validate command, right? I could say validate path, right? And then we'll say packer validate path like this. Now, again, this is a simple case. In the future, when we add arguments to this command and it gets more complicated, that's where this really comes in and becomes a lot more powerful. So if I say just validate, and then what's the actual twin gate connector? So just validate validate twin gate connector. See? Now again, you might be like, well, BG, it's just the same command. It's very easy. I know, okay? However, chat, let me show you what it can really do. Let's go to like one I really use this a lot, right? We'll go to this just file and look, this is way more complicated. How to run Doppler, or how to run preview with Pulumi, where we actually run Doppler and inject our secrets directly into the Pulumi command, and we have the ability of also passing which stack we want. So all I have to say is just preview. There, just that. That's all I have to do. And then it runs the whole thing for me. So again, I understand that this is a simple case. I highly recommend you check out the YouTube video. I highly recommend it. It will save you a lot of time. This is basically all I do now. And here's the cooler part, chat. Here's the cooler part, chat. Look at this. If you've ever wondered, like, well, what does your CI automation look like? It's just this simple. Log into ECR, just log in. Build images, just build CircleCI SHA. Push images, just push, right? Like, it drastically makes your CI configuration simpler. Look, refresh, image, just refresh, preview, just preview, update, just update. There's no need for like all of these other things because you have all of the automation set up here in this really nice reusable just file. And again, you're seeing a Pulumi one, but I can show you, let's go to a really common one. Backend APIs. Okay. I guarantee you every single one of you here constantly step over your feet when you're trying to figure out how to build your friggin' Docker images. Well, guess what, chat? Not only do I have the ability of building Docker images, but I can inject an NPM token using Doppler and then have that as a build arg in my build command. So now all I have to do, chat, is run just build, and it will make sure that it grabs the token, injects it with Doppler, adds it as a build arg, and then also runs it with buildx with the proper progress, the specific target, the right tag. Oh, and not only does it run the one command, it runs it for all of the stages that I want it to. So now I'm able to run multiple commands in one command because, again, just can give me that. So like I said, check out the YouTube. Cool. So, okay, like I said, this is very simple, right? It's a very simple solution at the moment, but it does solve a bigger problem here in the future. So speaking of that problem, let's go ahead and use our just file a bit more. We said that we use Doppler, right? So let's say Doppler run project, right? And I'm just going to hard code this at the moment. We'll say that our project was, what was it? Packer images, right? And then we also said that our config was CircleCI because that's where we're going to be running this, right? And then we say that. Now, this is still going to fail, but Doppler should actually run before it. So if I say just validate, you see that we actually get our Doppler to run and then inject the Packer validate next to it. So what that means is now we need to figure out how we can get this command to make sure it's injecting environment variables from this. So let's do this. We'll go back to our just file. And again, this is where I'm telling you, chat, this is where it kind of comes in here is MVP. Let's go back and let's say input variables. Variables. How do I, like, where's the actual command line thing? I forget. I need the, like, the actual, I think it's like dash var. Is that what it is? Assigning inputs. Yeah, here you go, dash var. So I could do this if I wanted to, or I could even go one step further. If I really wanted to make it easier, I could even do this. Package, what was it again? I lost it. Packer var. Okay, so if we go here, Packer var. We actually may not even need this. Let's do this. Twin gate access token. So we're going to say twin. Now here's the problem is it wants to uppercase everything. Twin gate access token. So this might not work. Let's give it a shot though. Now it's going to fail on the first two, right? But the third one should work. So we just want to see if the Twingate URL will get injected when we run this now. So yeah, it doesn't look like it is. And it might be because, again, this is being capitalized. Okay, so let's do this then. Let's go back to the bipedal garial, whatever that is. Let's save this, which is fine because we know that's what we want for now. Let's get out of this. And let's go back to our just file. Okay, so to validate this properly, we're going to have to give it the environment variables that we want, or the input variables that we want. So if I go back to here, image var build AMI, testing vars, var file. There's one limitation with Doppler that I'm trying to figure out how we're going to get around at the moment. And that issue is that Doppler does not always have the greatest job at injecting things at runtime. So for example, if I grab this, like if we just try it, right? And I do this, and I change this to Twingate URL, right? And then we say, we want this to be, what was it? Like bipedal, whatever. Right? Because this would basically be how we would do it. Doppler would run our config with our project, right? And then this bipedal would become whatever, right? So if I do this, and then I say just validate, yeah, you'll see that we get what's called an unbound variable. And you might be like, well, why? Why is it unbound? You added it to Doppler. Doppler run doesn't exactly inject things right here. What it does is it creates a new shell, and then it says anything running inside of that shell as a program will get those environment variables. It doesn't mean that if I reference it right here, we'll get it. This is a bit of a limitation. In most circumstances, it works, but like when you try doing something like this, it is a bit frustrating that it doesn't work. So I have to figure out how I can get this injected in a way that it will work for what I need. Now again, if we did it what kind of doesn't make sense is why the Packer one didn't build. Oh, well, right, because it's lowercase. Well, we could uppercase it, I guess. Could try that. Just throw more curly braces on it. No, I think what we might try doing is we might just try uppercasing. You know what I'm saying? Like if we just did this, and this, but then just went like, you know what, we'll stay at the mercy of the uppercase, right? Main, go back here, and then we'll just say, how do you uppercase things in NeoVim? I forget. Never mind, I figured it out. We're good, chat, we're good. I don't need help at all. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, so this looks like this should maybe work. Now, again, BG, or you might be like, hey, BG, why are you doing that? I don't fully understand. Why can't you just inject it? As I said before, when we run the run, that environment variable doesn't get injected directly. What happens is when your program that you tell Doppler to run with works, like basically if I do Doppler run like this, and then I just do like echo, you know, AWS access token, I'm not going to run it, but even if I did this, it would not work, right? And again, the reason for it is because what's happening is echo isn't actually getting the environment variable from here. What's happening is we're creating a brand new shell here, right? But AWS access token is being ran here. It's not being ran here. what happens is like if, for example, Echo then did a lookup for AWS access token, then it would work. So like a common way of getting around this is like turning this into like a .echo script, right? Echo.sh. You do that, then it injects all of your environment variables and it'll work, right? But that's like a problem with Doppler. Just be aware. Don't get mad at me if it doesn't work. I'm just letting you know. I've gotten frustrated with it too. So there we go. So check it out. So now we have it working. And actually, yeah, it did work. We have the environment variable, but you'll see here, TwinGate access token, nothing, because we haven't populated this. So now we actually have to inject the environment variables. Okay. So let's go back, and I'm actually going to go to our connector. Now I'm going to generate tokens, which means you can't see this. So give me 1 second. Let me get the tokens. Okay, sorry. I had to copy something from the command line to make sure I didn't have anything in my copy paste history. Cool. Okay. So what I have done is you'll now notice that I have values next to these, right? I can't hover over the right side of it because it will show you what the dots are, but you'll now notice that these are populated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this because I don't want you guys to ever see that again. And then we're going to go back to here, and we're just going to see the connector, right? We should see it just sitting here, bipedal, gaharial, whatever, right? Okay, cool. So now let's do another validate. Now, again, I don't think this is going to show anything, but just to be sure, I'm just going to hide the screen really quickly. If it worked, we should get all of our environment variables, and it should just say, you know, valid. Okay, so it didn't work. However, this might be something more related to invalid environment vars, TwinGate access token, bad character. Maybe I didn't. Did I? Yeah, this seems like I just didn't set something up right. So how do you declare? Like, how do you use them in line with something, I guess, is the question. Contextual variables? Oh. Okay. So it looks like I'm just not using the interpolation properly. Is that right? Am I like losing my mind here, or like is the documentation like changing how it does things? I could have sworn we just saw like user as an option, and like now it's saying that that's not the case, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, this documentation is wonky. It's very wonky. Variables. Default variables, type constraints, input variable documentation, custom validation rules, suppressing sensitive values. We got that. Using input variables. So see, yeah, like var dot. It seems like what it wants me to do is just do this. Like, you know what I mean? Like var dot. Am I wrong on that? Or maybe not. Maybe. I don't know. Hang on. Yeah, I was right. Okay. So yeah, that is right. I guess that's the way they want you to do it. I don't know why the other way didn't work, but this way seems to work for some reason. I have no idea why. Okay. So anyways, so I guess, yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, this makes sense that these would be like TFRs, right? Like, I guess I get that, but, yeah, really confused on some of the syntax here, but it is what it is, I guess. Okay, cool. So anyways, chat, let's go ahead, and I think we're at a point where I think we can just do it, right? Like, I think we're at a point now where we could just run the command. Now here's one thing I will say I'm slightly nervous about, which is I know that it's going to be like these variables are going to be hidden in a Terraform or HCL perspective. I am not sure if they're going to be here. So there's a solid chance that when we I'm just going to run it. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm just going to run it. If it shows the environment variables, I'm just going to delete the connector and create a new one. Like I don't mind doxing here because it's not like it's really going to matter too much. Like I'm just going to delete it if not. But I think we're at a point now where my only other question would just be like, I wonder if there's a way to like see how we've got like functions here, like contextual functions, env, right? Vault, numeric, string. Like I'm wondering if there's like a get, like maybe we could like download scripts, you know what I mean? Probably not. File system, template file. But see, that goes to a path. That doesn't go to downloading something. Path expand, file exists, base name, template file. Yeah, no. Encoding functions, UID, IP, CIDR, type conversions. Yeah, see, I'm not seeing anything about like being able to do. So I think we're gonna have to do it this way. Yeah, we're gonna do it. Let me do this really quickly. Let me get up and get a drink of water because my throat is killing me. And then we'll run this command. Okay. So yeah, give me 1 second. Let me actually run a super quick break as well. Actually, here, let's just do it now. I don't want to wait. All right, so here, let's do this. We're going to copy this. Now we've got validate. Now let's do build, right? Thank you. I appreciate that. But then I am going to pee after this, okay? Build. Yeah, so it is build. Okay. Yeah. So what we want to do is we want to say build path. So build. Right now, again, what you'll notice is that I am just taking the same command and copying and pasting it. It's up to you on how much you want to refactor this. Like, for example, if I really wanted to, I could say like command path, right? And now what I could do is if I really wanted, I could say, or actually say, here we go, sub command, right? Sub command. And now I could say like just validate, right? Oh, oops. I missed this part. Packer subcommand. There we go. I have to add the subcommand part. So we say just packer validate. You're kind of like wrapping it at this point. Validate. And then twin gate connector. And you can see how now what I'm basically doing is I'm saying like, okay, I have a bunch of other things I want to run with Packer, right? So I'm going to wrap all of that stuff in my just file and say, okay, just Packer validate. And then if I was like just Packer build, right, then I could do the same thing, twin gate connector, and then that should work. However, I don't want to do this right now because I don't know how many subcommands I'm going to be using. So I'm just going to go back here. And I also don't know how different they're going to be yet, right? So we're going to say validate path, get rid of this, Packer, validate, Packer, validate, or I'm sorry, build. There we go. Okay. So now if we say Packer, or I'm sorry, just build twin gate connector. Do we get anything? No valid credentials found. We need our AWS credentials. Right. Okay. So we need to go back to Doppler really quickly because we need to add AWS credentials. Now, what's happening is like everything I use is in Doppler. Like all of my secrets are in Doppler. They're all contextually separated and stuff like that. Like even my own personal, you'll see here, Eric Reinert, personal secrets for Eric Reinert. This is basically my dev environment. So if I click on this, I'm not going to show anything besides this. You'll see that I've got like AWS, Azure, CircleCI, Cloud, like basically everything that I use inline is here. And so when we started using our own project for this specific automation, all of that went away because now it's running in its own project, right? Packer images. So what I need to do is I need to add AWS access token, right? And here's a cool thing about Doppler. If you guys were like, well, that's neat that like you can do that, but are you just going to copy and paste the value? No, I'm going to reference it, baby, because that's what you can do in Doppler. And so I'm saying in this scenario, I want the Packer images AWS access key to actually reference the one from a completely different project so that if I update it, I only have to update it in one place, right? And we could do the same thing with the default region, right? We do the same thing with the secret access key. And I don't even have to be worried about, you know, at least right here, doxing it because I'm just making references, right? So I'm going to save this, hit save, and there we go. So now if I close this out, I go back, I'm going to just copy something random. We go back here and we do just build again. Bam, works like a charm, right? Because now it has those credentials. Yep, yeah, you can do that. So what have we done? What problems have we solved so far, chat? Well, we solved the problem, or at least what we're trying to work on solving the problem is, you know, creating an instance AMI with our stuff in it that we need for TwinGate, right? We started using Packer to create AMI instances, right? Cool, that worked. We then also started to use Doppler as a way of injecting specific instance, you know, like secrets and things. All right, let's see, hold on. What? Why are you hung? Did we do something that we didn't want to do? That's interesting. The connector's not up, so, or at least maybe it's not. Yeah, it's not up yet. We'll give that a second. But anyways, like I said, we're using Packer as a way to create the instance image itself. We're using Doppler as a way to make it so that we have portable secrets. And then we're also using just so that we can automate these commands and make it really easy for us to reuse this and be able to run this anywhere. Now, why this is failing or why this is hung, I'm not entirely sure. So really quickly, what I want to do is I want to go to the instances, T2 micro, subnet, US West 2A. I'm worried that I might have borked something in the networking here. So route table, internet gateway. No, it should be fine. It should be routing out. Huh. Well, that script should have worked. So it not working means that there's something else going on that we're not fully aware of. Yeah, no, we connect over SSH, right? But for some reason, we didn't get maybe it's because we didn't get a public IP address. Oh, that's probably what it is. Shit. Yeah, that's probably what it is. We need to put this into a different subnet. Yeah, I'm like 99% certain that it's a routing issue. Or we need to make sure that this machine gets a public IP address when it's created. How do we do that? Can we do that? I wonder if we could do that. Public. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, if we do this, this will make it work. Now Non-default VPC, yeah. So we are using the default VPC, but it is no longer default. I have highly overridden it. No, the problem, again, if this works, then I'll explain the problem, basically. If like I said, if this works, then I'll explain the problem. We'll see. Let's see if this works. Yeah. So we do want to associate a public IP address, yeah. Okay. All right, let's try this again. Go here. What's interesting is like I'm not even seeing any. There it is. Okay, there we go. Now we've got a public IP address as well. Excuse me. Sorry, I didn't mean to make that loud of a burp, chat. All right, so the instance is almost up at this point. There we go. Bam, there we go. Okay, so so that's what it was. That's what it was. Cannot change permissions of Etsy Twingate. No such file or directory. Interesting. So maybe we do need sudo there. Oh, because we're running as Ubuntu. I'm a dummy. Okay. All right, so we're getting there, chat. We're getting there. So let me explain to you really quickly why we ran into the problem that we just ran into, and I'm going to help you understand it with a nice little visual chart that I've got here. In the Amazon world of things, Amazon has subnets. However, they have two different types of subnets, really. They have what are called public subnets and private subnets, okay? Now, the TLDR behind these is all about how the subnet routes out to the internet, okay? With a public subnet, instances route to the internet via an internet gateway, which means that you have public IP addresses given to these instances, and those public IP addresses are going out via the internet gateway, which give them access. Now, if you weren't aware of this, if you give a instance, or if you don't give an instance in a public subnet a public IP address, it does not have internet. The reason for that is because the public IP address is actually what helps provide the internet connectivity to the instance, right? Now, we provisioned a instance in the public address space or in the public subnet. However, we did not give it a public IP address so that it could route out to the internet via the internet gateway. So because of that, basically, we created a dead instance that had no kind of routable traffic whatsoever. So a good way there's two ways of getting around this. The first way is to just give it a public IP address like I just did, right? Once we do that, the public IP address gives it the ability to route out via the internet gateway, and then that is what gives it internet connectivity. Or I could put it in a private subnet. Now, if I put it in a private subnet, what would happen is it would actually go through a route table that points to the NAT gateway right here, and then that NAT gateway uses an EIP or an elastic IP to go out to the internet. This approach is essentially the same approach as putting a elastic IP address on an instance itself. However, the NAT gateway shares the internet traffic for all of the instances. And now, chat, if you didn't know how NATs work, you do. That's basically how they work. And that's exactly how a NAT gateway works in Amazon. Instead of giving an elastic IP address to every single one of your instances, you give it to a NAT gateway, and then you tell those instances to route through that NAT gateway. That's also why when you use a NAT gateway in a cloud, the IP address is the IP address of the NAT gateway. So in a lot of scenarios, if you have to like whitelist IP addresses for providers and stuff like that, a common design is to essentially say, okay, I want to go to this location, right? And when I go to this location, I want to use this IP address or this NAT gateway. And then when I go to the other cloud, I'm going to allow this only IP address, which I know is from us. So yeah, that's basically how it works. And that's why once we added the IP address, we got past it and we said that this failed. Now this failed because I am a dummy and I didn't realize, or I forgot that this isn't a Docker container, meaning that these aren't running as root. So I removed the sudo part right here, which is why this failed. So if I re-add that and try running it again, this should actually work this time. Queen Miss Rose, how's it going? Hello, hello. By the way, guys, if you are new to our community, there's a couple things I'd like you to check out. First, that little blurb right there. Basically, if you tuned in this weekend, you got to hang out with Atoda. Atoda and I are co-hosts on this wonderful stream. You get to hang out with me during the week. There is a new schedule, by the way, and now that I have a few of you here, I guess I can go ahead and let you know. I'm going to be streaming Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. However, there's one change to that schedule, which is I'm going to be streaming Wednesday nights. Okay, hold on. Twingate's repositories are broken. Am I reading this correctly? No, one of them did, and just not all of them. I'm doing good. Sorry, I got distracted by this. Twingate connector. Okay. So if we go back to Twingate, hold on. Cool. So we'll see that our connector hasn't started yet. That's because it basically just got installed and then we didn't run it. And so what'll happen, or what should happen, is once we restart it, it should start running. Actually, I'm kind of interested why that didn't do that. Hang on. So it does look like it. It does look like interesting. I feel like it should have actually started it before, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm doing well though. Yeah, I'm doing good. So yeah, basically now we're just waiting for the image to AMI to finish. And then we can really just create an instance now and hopefully, it will start. I'm a little concerned that it didn't start the service, which might mean we might have to do like a syscontrol D enable. Right? You know what I'm saying? To make sure that it runs, because I am a little confused at why it didn't run. And I'm wondering maybe the environment variables didn't get injected properly. That could be it as well. Maybe we have to inject them into the bash that gets started and not the bash that we're running. Yeah, I'm thinking that maybe that didn't work. I'm slightly nervous that didn't work. But we're closer. I like that we're closer. Do we have any other AMIs in here right now that we need to delete before I go any further? AMIs. Oh, we do. We have a couple. All right. Okay, cool. So there's our two AMIs. We'll delete those in a second. All right, so where are we at? So basically, chat, like I said, we are automating a instance so that we can create an image for it so that we can very easily deploy this instance, and this will be our VPN service. We're going to be doing the same thing for another thing that we need to unblock ourselves with, and that's going to be our CI runner, right? These are basically processes that can only run inside of instances. We can't really run them anywhere else. And so because of this, we're not creating Docker images or anything like that. We're actually creating images for those instances. And so, yeah, that's why we're using Packer. Remember, we also, after we created our Packer file, which if we go here, we can see here's our Packer file. We then said, all right, well, we've got a basic Packer file set up. How do we inject the environment variables? Now, like I said, I'm not 100% convinced that this is working. Like, they inject environment variables here. We have Twingate running in Fargate. No VM needed. Nice. Guess what? I don't want to pay for Fargate. But that's cool that you guys are. Fargate's very nice in the regards that you don't have to manage anything. But how's it going, Nuno? How you doing, buddy? So yeah, I'm. This is where like environment variables and stuff like that get really confusing. I'm slightly wondering if we might just need to put these environment variables like here. You know what I mean? Maybe it's not getting inferred properly. Like maybe these environment variables aren't getting passed down into here. But I want to debug that next, basically. Just joined. Why not EC2 image builder? I've used Packer before. I like it. I think it's a good utility. I also am a fan of HashiCorp. And I don't we don't do any kind of vendor lock-in here. That's probably the biggest one. We are not just on Amazon. We have stuff in Azure, and in the future we'll have things in Google as well. The platform that we're building, we're just building it the best way we can. Right? We're not saying like, okay, everything's got to be in one place, and it's got to be set up this one way, and it's got to be in this one language, and it's got to use we're not standardizing like that. What we're doing is we're trying to build this like a real company would, and where I work at, for example, and we say like, okay, this solves this problem best. How can we get ourselves there? I think Packer's a great tool. I think it can do pretty much everything I need it to, and for now, I'm not really worried about it. Again, I've used it before many times. I'm just aware of its intricacies and like the challenges that you can have with it, with again, like things like this. Like we're really trying to make this completely dynamic. You know what I mean? Like this is simply just something that gives us the ability to create a twin gate VM. You know what I mean? With twin gate inside of it. And so I want that like basic generalization to where like if I was like, all right, I want to build this in Azure and Amazon, you could do that with Packer. So I would say that's probably, those are probably the biggest reasons why. All right, I'm going to go to the bathroom really quickly. I'm going to stretch my legs. I'm going to go to the little coders room. If you are new to the channel, like I said, please be sure to check out that little blurb right there. It's a co-hosted stream by me and my good friend Atoda. I was telling you guys the schedule. The schedule is Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and Saturdays, right? Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Basically, I stream Mondays between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. West Coast time. I also stream Wednesdays. Now, Wednesdays, I normally stream in the morning. That's changing. My work was nice enough to say, hey, we respect that you're streaming, and we want to give you that opportunity and that time. However, we just need to set actual time periods, and just like that'll always be it, so they know when I'm streaming and vice versa. And so I sat down with them, and basically we agreed that 2 times a week during the day isn't that bad. And so that's what we're going to do. And then 1 time of the week at night is like the trade-off. So Mondays, I'm going to be streaming in the mornings to hang out with you guys. Wednesdays, I'm going to be streaming at night, right? So that means that I'll be sure to be streaming between like 6 p.m. and like later. And then Fridays, we'll be streaming again in the mornings, right? So Mondays and Fridays are going to be in the mornings. Wednesdays are going to be at night. Atoda also streams Thursdays, and is a new day. He's going to be streaming Thursdays now, which is very exciting. We're going to be getting a whole other day of Atoda. And then he'll be streaming Saturdays as well, too. So you're going to be getting a lot more content. I'm excited. Like I said, we had to sit down. Like I had to sit down with my work and be like, hey, how can we make sure it's fair to everybody? And they were really awesome. So took a little bit longer. But again, the schedule going forward, Mondays, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., right? West Coast time. Wednesdays, 6 p.m. to like 9 or 10 p.m. West Coast time. Thursdays, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. West Coast time. Fridays, between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. West Coast time. And then Saturdays, between normally like 10 a.m. and so forth, and that same time period. So again, we'll make it so it's a little easier for you guys to understand it. But I hope you're excited. Yeah, and we are too. I'm excited to be able to get back into my normal routine. Also, be sure to check out the Discord. We have a fantastic place filled with wonderful people. If you're into DevOps, you're into programming, you're into gaming, you're into any of that stuff. If you ever have questions or anything like that, we have a community filled with people who are interested to help. And yeah, just overall great place. And then, like I said, too, check out the YouTube. This is something we're trying to, get off the ground for the first time. Be sure to subscribe. There's a lot of cool stuff that we're going to be releasing to that as well. Cool. All right, I'm going to take my break. We also run ads during our breaks. Basically, we run ads during breaks so that you guys don't have to deal with them during the stream or as much as you don't want to. And so I'm going to run a quick ad while I do that. Just, go check out the YouTube or something, go subscribe. But yeah, let me take a quick break. Preserve the environment variables -E. Oh, is that what it is? It is. So here's, and I'm not going to go down this super quickly, but I will say, Nuno, to you or anyone else who's like super bash voodoos, I want to believe that it would still inherit it if it was in the base shell, right? I'll let you guys sit on that for a moment. Would it still inherit it if it was in the base shell, or is it because it's sudo that we lose it? Maybe that's because it's sudo. Maybe I'm realizing now what it is myself. All right, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. I'll see you guys in a second. Be right back. 1 second. Yeah, that makes sense. Once you said it, or once I once it kind of connected, I was like, oh, okay. So sudo -E is what we want, right? Because I'm pretty confident it should have just started running. I'm pretty confident that it should have just started running. So there's our snapshots. Hey, Bubby, can you please be safe and not mess anything up? I'd appreciate that. All right, actions. Let's deregister these. Delete associated snapshots. Okay. Well, I wanted you to do that, so I guess you're just not gonna. Delete. Because of the stern warnings, best old school internet culture. I just use it. I'm gonna be real. I know people don't really like using sudo. They'd rather su switch user or whatever. But I'm lazy. I don't know. So Crozita, the main benefit is just plain and simply you're not locking into EC2 and Amazon. That's really it, I would say. Yeah. Right. With this, I can build one. I could I guess a good way of explaining it, Crozita, is if I wanted to build for Azure and Amazon, I could do that simultaneously with this. Or Google, or a bunch of other things as well. Okay, cool. So I think this setup, or the -E, was our mix up. So let's try this again. Now there is a small downside to doing this, and I'm going to say that it's a small downside because realistically it's not that big of a deal. We are technically baking credentials into an image, something that is meant for reproducing or rebuilding things, more things with it. There's ways around this. We could inject, key or secrets into cloud init at runtime or things like that. There's definitely ways around it. I think honestly, that's going to be up to you and your worries and your concerns. For us, I'm not really worried about it. In all seriousness, it's a image that we created, we have control over, and if I wanted to, I could just regenerate the key and it's done. It's that easy. So the attack vector is actually pretty low here, on top of the fact that it really only does do something for us. It just makes it so that we can connect to the internet that it's on. We failed. What did we fail on? So it looks like no such file or directory. I might have to do an apt-get update. Yeah, I think I have to do an apt-get update before I do anything else. But yeah, because I could just regenerate the token, it's really not that big of a deal at the end of the day. I'm wondering if I should just do it the way that they, I'm wondering if they I feel like a lot of documentation is so explicit without you knowing it, I really do. So I'm almost wondering let's just do this really quickly. I know this is not the most glamorous way of doing it, but I think that's how they do it. Let's go here. Let's go to Linux. sudo. Yeah, they do it after the sudo. Yeah. So again, I know this isn't the most glamorous approach, but it should at least reproduce what they did, you know? And that's kind of just like what I want to do right now. I just want to make sure I'm not like really doing something silly here. And then they just pipe it to bash, yeah. Sudo twingate, refresh token, URL, bash. Okay. So yep, okay. Oh, let's do an apt-get update really quickly. Sudo apt-get update. And then, you know what? Just for funsies, we'll do sudo apt-get install -- yes curl. I mean, it's already going to be there, but like, why not, you know? Maybe it'll not be in a base image we have in the future. I don't know. When you say it's easy to swap over to Azure, I'm assuming it's fairly straightforward. Just, yeah, I mean, it's the configuration is abstracted away from the cloud provider. So you really just point it to Amazon or point it to Google or point it to Azure, and then it knows how to do the same steps on a different location or in a different location. Again, the one you want, you know, yeah, Azure, whatever. Yeah, I want to say that again, like this should have started. Oh, that's not that big a deal. All right. Okay, there we go. We're getting an update properly this time. Okay. Their twin-gate packages are like borked somehow, though. Yep, it worked. Okay, so let's see if we got our connector. Yep, see, there it is. See how our connector is now green? That means that it went through the process, it configured everything, and it was even able to start it. So that's why I told you this is how we know the instance worked. Now that we see this, we now know that this connector here is basically deployable and this image is good to go. Okay, awesome. So we're good. We are now ready to at least deploy our VM. So now what I'm going to do, chat, is I'm actually going to move over to some other automation. And before I do that, I'm going to take you guys through the next step. Now, like I told you, we have a bunch of automation layers in our automation repositories, or in basically what we change and update within our infrastructure, right? We do source control, DNS, network. Now, we talked about network, and we said, you know, we need a way of routing, you know, out to the internet so that we can build our images, our Packer images, and we've already built this image now, which is great. So now we want to go to the next one, which is VPN. Yo, DevOps with Brian, man. Thank you for the tier 1 sub, man. Right out of your pocket, dude. That was it $4.99, I think? $3.99? I don't know. But dude, thank you. Thank you, man. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. Welcome to the community, fellow DevOpser. But yeah, in this case, we're going to look at our VPN automation. Now, our VPN automation in Amazon, again, is very simple. We just create a security group with an EC2 instance and the twin gate connector running inside of it. Now, we're going to create a T3A small. We said that was the instance size that we wanted to create. And we want to make sure that this is in the VPC of our, you know, in the VPC of our choice. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to that automation, and here it is right here. Now, again, this is written in Go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the main here. And if we go to the main, you'll notice that we have these things. Oh, dude, of course. Yeah, don't worry, buddy. There's tons of stuff that we have to show you. You'll see here that we have our Azure provider and our AWS provider. Now, I want to be clear. I have made this opinionation around how these how this automation runs. Pulumi And even as it is similar with Terraform, you can have cloud resources mixed together, right? So for example, if I was like, all right, I want to build a bunch of cloud resources in Amazon, and then like have some dependencies be built in Google, and then like have some more dependencies built in Azure, like you can do all of that, right? But I have written this in a way where these automation repositories solve specific problems, right? If we go back to our documentation, our technical documentation, we say that the VPN just deploys our VPN to multiple providers, right? Multiple cloud providers to avoid vendor lock-in. So what we've said is that for us to avoid that vendor lock-in, we use TwinGate. Cool. TwinGate's our VPN service. Awesome. Well, then what we need to do is we need to solve the next problem, which is having an instance in every cloud provider that runs TwinGate, right? So that we can have connections in all of our cloud providers. So Amazon, Azure, and in the future, Google, right? So in the circumstance of AWS, we create a security group, we create an EC2 instance, and then we have that TwinGate connector running inside of that EC2 instance. Well, what problems have we already solved? Well, we just solved the problem of the TwinGate connector AMI having the process inside of it needed to run the connector, right? So if we look back at our document and we move backwards, we'll notice that TwinGate connector is now solved. We now have automated the TwinGate connector to where it can be installed. It can be installed safely. We can install it with CI. We can run this in CI if we want to, nightly, whatever. But the main point is that this TwinGate connector is something that can be automated now. So now what we want to do is we want to provision the EC2 instance and the security group. So we're going to go back here and we're going to say, okay, well, I'm not worrying about Azure right now, right? And if we go to Azure, the actual code, we'll see that we're not running anything. Literally, it's just empty, right? Now in the future, if we want our own VPN in Azure, what do I need to do? I just simply need to, to do add resource definition, right? Like that's it. I just add the resource definition, bam, bam, boom, we're done, right? Now, if we go to Amazon, because we know we want a VPN service there, I'm going to go here and you'll see that I actually have something commented out. Now, if I uncomment this, you'll notice that I have options and a resource, a custom resource for an AWS VPN, right? Now, you might be like, BG, why are you calling it an AWS VPN, right? You're not using the actual VPN service that Amazon provides. Well, when I say AWS VPN, I'm saying in the sense of what I need, right? Meaning I need a VPN service running in Amazon, right? I need an APV or an AWS or a VPN service running in Azure. So when we say AWS VPN, we're even abstracting away that term. Excuse me. And we're making it our own, right? And so now we can go in here and we can say like, okay, cool. Let's take a look at what we want. And in our VPN, we create our component, which is what we always do. And then here's the security group. Here's our security group with the ingress. So we say, okay, we're going to create a VPN security group. We're going to allow all egress, basically all internet traffic can go out of the security group. And then we're going to allow specific IP addresses, or in this case, ours, to connect to the network or the instance. And you'll notice that we do it over 22. Right? So then we create a VPC or VPC security group, or basically a security group, right? So once that security group is created, we look back here at our chart and we say, okay, well, bam, we've got our security group. Now we need an EC2 instance. Cool. All right, well, let's do that. So new instance options, availability zone, US West 2A. So you'll notice that we do put it in that public space, right? Now this is a T3A micro. Really? We run a T3A micro for that? Holy crap. What is that? Let's see what a T3A micro is. I think that's half a gigabyte of memory. Like I think that's literally tiny. Which, I mean, if I said that that's what we ran, then that's what we ran. Like, just means that it's a lot cheaper than I thought it was. T3A micro. Okay, yeah, we run it with a gigabyte of memory. Okay, yeah. So this is basically a $6 a month instance. Cool. Okay, so we're going to run it with a T3A micro. Yep, sounds good to me. We give it the security group that we created, right? And we give it a name. And then we'll actually go into the instance itself and we'll see like what does this do, right? Well, it does a few things. First off, it gets an instance AMI. There it is, chat. So this right here, we need to update, right? This is what we need to update so that we get our AMI that we just created. And if you look here, look at this. Look up AMI, Ubuntu minimal, bam. So we're actually already looking for Jammy, right? We've already kind of done this step, except for what we've done now is we've actually said, you know what? We're going to take it a step further and we're going to build the images ourselves, right? So we're going to delete this. Actually, that should still be fine. But what we really want to do is we want to just delete this, because this is the name of the instance or of the AMI. And if we go back to this AMI section, zoom in a little bit, right? We can click on this and we can see that this is our AMI name, twin gate connector, blah, blah, blah. Yo, Nilium, thank you so much, dude, for the 100 biddies. I appreciate that. And you can see here's our source, right? Which is basically the same thing as this, right? So our name, what we want is this, right? But what we're going to do is we're just going to put a star here. Now you might be like, why do you do that, BG? Why do you put a star at the end there? Because of this right here, most recent. I don't want to have to continually like update one thing over here to update something over there to update something over there. What I'd really like to do is I'd like to make it so that I can very easily just run some automation, and then the next time the other automation knows, it picks up that update, right? So in this case with a get instance AMI, what we're actually doing is we're saying, hey, I want to get the latest Alta 4 twin gate connector AMI with HMV virtualization type. And I want to get the most recent one, right? Or sorry, I want to get the most recent one. So what that means is that this wildcard here is just going to find whatever it can of the most recent of this prefix that we have. Now, the last thing we need to do is we need to update the owners. And then I think we just copied this. This is fine. We'll just copy our ID in there. So that's our account ID. And there we go. So now we can get the latest Alta 4 LLC twin gate connector, AMI, right? It's going to be HMV, and it's going to be coming from our account. So we're no longer getting Ubuntu's, right? We're actually getting the latest twin gate connector AMI from our account. And this is private, so we don't have to really be worried about it being public or anything like that. Which again, when we talk about baking, credentials and images, it's really not that much of a concern at the moment. Okay, so what else we got? So we get our instance AMI. We've updated that. Fantastic. And then we get subnets. Now, we said that we're going to put this in a public subnet. So what do? We do the same thing as the AMI. We just do a get subnets filter or a get subnets request, which is basically a data request. And then we find the subnet. So we're not actually creating the AMI here, right? Where do we create the AMI? We create the AMI with Packer. Whereas here, we're just getting the data. We're expecting it to already exist. And the same thing here. If this AMI didn't exist, this automation would just fail, right? Same thing with the subnets. If for some reason the subnet got deleted or something like that, this automation would fail. Okay, so if we keep moving forward, we can then see that we have our security group IDs, which is just the one security group that we created earlier. And then we create an instance. Now we do have some user data here. VPN, user data, requires secret, user data name. I don't remember exactly what this is. I think this might actually be us injecting. I think this might actually, I enjoy. I think this might actually be us doing cloud in it. Which I don't want to do cloud in it, man. I don't like cloud in it. I'm not a fan of it, right? So we're just going to get rid of user data entirely now. Like we don't need it at all. You know what I mean? Because we've pre-baked the image. So associate public IP address, there's that true instance type key name, right? Key name VPN. We should have a VPN key. And there. Now, before I do this, I just want to quickly go to my SSH folder. I want to make sure that I have Alt4 LLC VPN. Yeah, cool. Okay, awesome. So I have that key as well. I wanted to make sure I can actually SSH into this thing once we're done. And we look good. Okay, so let's go back really quickly to our documentation and let's see what we were expecting versus what we're getting, right? So we're already creating the AMI. Now, actually here, let's add this a little bit further. Let's extend this a little bit further because I think it makes sense too, right? So EC2 instance to TwinGate connector. I think what we also want to do is after security group or even before security group, we could say Packer to EC2 instance AMI, right? And then what we could say is we could say like EC2 instance to EC2 instance AMI. And that'll help us know that Packer is creating our EC2 instance AMI, right? And then our EC2 instance refers to that AMI, which then runs our connector. And this kind of helps our documentation a bit. We could say like process, right? And this is like Packer. Oh, no, this wouldn't be Packer. This would be Pulumi. And then Packer, I guess, would just be like CircleCI in that regard, or whatever, you know, CI would be. So CI runs, or Packer runs through CI to create our instance AMI, right? And then our instance with Pulumi actually gets that AMI and then runs it. For now, I'm just going to get rid of these actually, because I don't think these add much value. But you get the idea. Cool. Okay, so this looks a lot better. This is a much better description of everything. Now, if we go back to TwinGate and I refresh, we should see that our connector's down, right? Why is it down? Because it's not running at the moment. See here, bipedal, Garial, or whatever is not running, right? So what we need to do is we need to run this automation so that we actually get our instance up and running. So to do so, we're going to do two things. First, we're going to stage this code, right? We're going to stage our changes. And then, hold on one second. Okay, so two things. One, I want to make sure that this configuration is right. And right now, this user data doesn't need to be there. And this public key, if this is the public key that it's trying to use, then this is the wrong one. This needs to be my machine that we're like literally on right now. ID rsa.pub. You guys want my public key? There we go. So this is what we need to be as the public key. Not entirely sure why my Manjaro personal one's there. Man, that if that's the case, that means this is old. This is like really old. Okay. Grab this. Again, chat, public keys don't matter. Not doxing myself. And we'll paste that in. There we go. All right. So, actually, why do we need this? I'm kind of curious. Let's go here. Public key. Is this for Azure? Oh, that's what it's for. It's for Azure. So that's what it is. Azure uses the public key. I see. That's fine. That's fine. I will keep it. It still needs to be updated. Like it still needs to be updated regardless, but that can all be deleted, that user data. Again, that's like really old stuff. Okay, cool. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to just build the automation. So we're going to say Alt4 Pulumi. Oh, wait, actually, what is the expecting? Pulumi VPN. Okay. Pulumi VPN. Let's see if I can find it. Alt F4 LLC. Pulumi no, close, but no cigar. We could change this though. So VPN and then VPN. Okay, so because it's written in Go, even though it's automation, it still has to be compiled down to a binary, which then Pulumi uses to run its automation with. So right now it's building the Go binary. And then what we'll end up doing is we'll end up running Pulumi, and it'll know where that binary is and be able to interact with it. Pulumi is very fascinating, actually, with how it does like some of its things. Oh, there we go. Thought I lost my mouse for a second there. Importer to not use instance. Instance 8.2. Oh, okay. Get rid of that. Sure. We'll just build it one more time. Cool. Okay. So now I should be able to do secrets, Pulumi refresh, for example. And then it'll refresh against prod. And you'll see we've got nothing essentially there, so there's nothing to refresh. All right. So then we're going to do preview, and let's see what it has to get, what it has to say. So it says that in Amazon, it wants to create a new VPN, right? It wants to create a security group for that as well as an instance, right? Okay, cool. So let's just do a quick diff. And this diff will actually enable it so that we can kind of see like all the data, right, that it's going to do. Hopefully it'll keep things secret that are supposed to be secret. But yeah, here's the security group that it's going to create, right? Remember, here's our egress, which is all our ingress, which is just the IP addresses that we care about. And then the instance, AMI, there's our AMI. Look, it actually found it. So 0491, if we go back to images, 0491, yep, there it is. So it actually did find our AMI. It's going to give it a public IP address. Instance type 23A micro. Key name is going to be Alta4 LLC VPN. Now, what that means is that I should actually have a key in here, a key pair, and yep, there it is. Here's that key pair right there with Alta4 LLC VPN. So we're looking pretty good, chat. Here's our subnet, tags, Alta4 LLC, VPC security groups. Okay, so let's do this. Let's say Pulumi update. Now, there's two things that we want to happen when this update runs, okay? The first one is going to be, it's going to create the instance, right? The instance should just get created and should become available. The second thing is that our connector right here should come back online. If this connector comes back online, then that means that the AMI was able to run properly, it was able to save properly, it was able to rerun properly, and essentially give us, you know, what we expected from the instance itself. So there, our security group's been created. Our instance is now being created as well. If we go back to instances, if I refresh, we can see there's Alta4 LLC. This needs to be changed to Alta4 LLC VPN, but we can change that. That's pretty easy. There's our micro. And if we go back to TwinGate, if I refresh, we'll see if it's back up yet. It's not back up yet. It's okay. Might take a second. There it is. Our VPN is back online. So what have I shown you today, chat? What have I shown you today? Right? Well, we started out the stream by talking about how if we want to start working on more future and like advanced things and like new things with regards to Quirk, we kind of need to clean up some of this automation and things like that that we already had in place that we need to be able to use in the future. And one of them was related to our VPN configuration, right? We said that if we want to be able to create clusters and add clusters and remove like clusters, we need to make it so that our VPN service basically is not running in the same cluster that the cluster itself might be deleted. And that's currently how our situation was. We wanted to save money. And so we basically said, for now, we'll run TwinGate inside of our Kubernetes cluster. However, I want to delete this cluster now. I want to create a brand new one. I want to be able to replace it. And so if I did that, I would basically break all of our VPN connectivity. So what we had to do was we had to go back to using our VPN automation that we created called Pulumi VPN, right? Pulumi VPN. And this automation repository is dedicated to just doing that, creating VPN resources in the cloud for us. And so we talked a bit about what that repository solves. And from an AWS perspective, we have every step of the process done and automated, right? We said we want to use Packer to create our EC2 instance AMI, right? And this will be updated if we wanted to say here, actually, this is probably a better thing to say. This is like scheduled, right? So this can be something that's like a scheduled task that maybe every night, every week, the AMI gets rebuilt and updated, right? And then after we have that AMI, we create a security group, which is then allowing SSH basically to the instance, right? And this is so that if we need to jump into the instance or anything like that, we can access it directly. And that instance then goes out to the AMI that we created and uses it to run the twin gate connector. And so, yeah, we were able to go into our twin gate connector automation for Packer. We set up the plugins. We set up our variables. We said that we wanted these variables to be basic to where if we need to swap out tokens, we want to point it to different tokens, we can easily do that. We also made sure that they were sensitive so that we weren't doxing ourselves. We get the latest Ubuntu Jammy image, right? So we said like, okay, let's go out to Amazon. Let's find the latest Ubuntu version that we want to support. And then we say, okay, cool. Let's create our source, right? And this is our Ubuntu source, the AMI of that prefix of, twin gate connector, like we said, which is something that we expect in our automation. We then set up the SSH username and then the subnet to make it sure that it goes into the public subnet so that it has access to the internet, all easy peasy. And then we create our provisioner and we said, all right, well, we want you to first do an apt-get update. Then we want to make sure that curl's installed. And then after curl's installed, run the actual installer for TwinGate. And so it takes the environment variables that we gave it, injects it into the shell as it runs, and then make sure that once the curl is actually complete, it gets piped to bash. And so that makes sure that the AMI gets created the way it is. And so you can see here's our output where once we connected to SSH, it started running our provisioning shell script. Here's our apt-get update, right? Curl's already installed, perfect. And then we actually run curl here. You can see that, you can see that when we ran curl, what are you trying to go to? Jeez. When we ran curl, we actually downloaded the script, which then started running apt, and you can see that some of these worked. I guess I don't know why all twin gates aren't working, but whatever. But then we go through that, and then bam, there's our twin gate connector. It gets installed, right, and then it sets up the symlink for the service. This was important. If this didn't run, then when our instance started the next time around, it wouldn't start anything. So this symlink here getting created was very important to the next time it ran. But once that got created, then it shut down the VM and created our AMI 0491, right? That's the AMI we said was going to get created. And so if we go to AMIs, bam, there's our AMI right here, Alta 4 connector, right? There it is right there. And so then what we did is we went to our automation, our VPN automation, and we said, okay, cool. Now that we've got that, let's update the virtual machine automation so that it actually knows how to use the AMI that we created, right? So then we went into here and we said, okay, let's go down to new instance. And in new instance, we say get instance AMI, right? So we updated this and we said, all right, instead of it getting jammy, which is what it did before, now we want you to actually get our instance that we created from our account, right? So there's the instance with the prefix, right? We don't have the date because we're telling it we want it to get most recent, right? And then the owners is us. So it'll always make sure it gets from our account and always gets the image that we want. So then it injects that into the instance configuration as well as the key and the security group. And bim, bam, boom. Once it starts, you can see that there is our VPN service or our VPN connector for TwinGate now running in Amazon, right? Fully automated, right? So if we wanted to build this image again, don't have to worry about it. It can run in the cloud, right? Easy peasy. Images. Not related to this, but have you ever used Fastlane Gym to build macOS apps? No, I haven't. I have never used it before, Destro. Yeah, sorry, buddy. I don't know what that is. Cool. So does anyone have any questions about what we just did? Does anyone have any questions at all about what we just did? Now this right here is a binary. That doesn't need to be here. So let's do file dot get ignore, right? Alt F4 LLC Pulumi network. And let's say just in the current directory. And that'll make sure that, oh, Pulumi VPN, not network, whoops. Oh, it still didn't work. Is it because I spelled get ignore wrong? No. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So the problem is that that's also the folder. That's why we don't do that. Unless we change it. Which I might just have to do that later. For now, I'm not really worried about it. Whatever. Get rid of that. Are you using K8s as a platform? Yes, we are using Kubernetes, yeah. Will Ubuntu be replaced someday with NixOS? Where it can be. I mean, again, with like what we're really trying to do here, we're really trying to make sure that we're being practical with our decision making, because Atoda and I are just two people, and it's really hard to manage like cloud infrastructure, services, like, you know, on top of everything else that it requires to be a company. So yeah, like I think we want to automate as much as humanly possible. I think that's really the goal here, and where we can, you know, automate and save time and have good practices in that automation, I think it'll allow us to do a lot of cool stuff. I like this, you know, and again, if we can use Nix, I would like to, but I'm not gonna trip over it. You know what I mean? I'm not too worried about not using Nix right now. There's again, I don't mind using Packer here. And Agile, to answer your question a bit further, you know, not everything is I guess not everything just works with Nix, right? So I think it's evaluating how valuable it is to have that in Nix versus like our software chain. You know what I mean? Why Pulumi? Is Pulumi better than Terraform or Ansible? I mean, so no. I get this question all the time, and I'm gonna be honest with you. No one is better than the other. And that's just not me trying to sound unbiased or whatever. It's me being honest. I write, you know, automation in Terraform all day for my job, and we have some really powerful, you know, automation that we can do with it. Same thing with Pulumi and my personal projects or things that we do here, you know, at Alta 4. Pulumi simply enables you to write your code or your automation in a language, in a general purpose language. So you can write it in JavaScript, you can write it in, you know, Python, you can write it in Go, you can write it in other languages, right? Terraform has Terraform CDK, right? But Terraform CDK, just like Terraform, basically compiles down to configuration maps and like JSON, right? And so there's a big separation between those two, because in the Pulumi world, it's native. It's native code, right? It's just native general purpose language code being ran, versus something like CDK, which might synthesize something from code into like JSON or something like that. So whether it be Terraform CDK or Terraform by itself, Terraform just being a very simple, you know, DSL is what it's technically called, a domain-specific language, is not as, you know, extensible and usable with a lot of things. Like, for example, for loops can be very challenging. It's a very simple challenge that a lot of people deal with in Terraform, and it's something that, like, you know, is very easy to do in a general purpose language. Variable declarations, right? Things like that. So you're going to get that value out of Pulumi. And if you decide you want that value, then it can be good. you know, but it's up to you. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not going to be something that I can tell you it's better or not. It's up to you with what you're doing. Okay, cool. So I feel a lot better about this this setup. We are in a bit of a chicken before the egg scenario, though, because we have the ability. Yeah, of course, no problem. We have the ability of setting up our VPN, right? But we don't have the ability of running our automation on our VPN. We have a VPN instance running, right, which gives us internet connectivity or network connectivity, right? And that's our new little, you know, T3A micro here. However, it's just providing us network accessibility via TwinGate, right? It's not really providing us with anything else. So we're at an interesting moment where if we look at our automation stack, right, and we kind of say like, okay, what do we have? What do we not have? We have source control, DNS, network, VPN, Kubernetes, bucket, container registry, database, machine user, and messaging. However, and this is something I was thinking about before I went live today, I'm starting to think that we might need a new one. And I think that this one might need to be CI, like CI CD. And the reason why I say that is because there are things here that I think are going to always have to automate or will need to at some point. And this is a specific concern that I would rather solve on its own. And to go into a little bit more detail with that, if we go back to here, we kind of look at this, right? You'll see that source control enables us to like write all of this automation, really, right? DNS enables us to create networking. Networking allows us to do VPN, and VPN can allow us to do CI/CD, right? So what I'm thinking, chat, is that or maybe both of these are just kind of side by side, right? But let's do this. Let's do this. I'm gonna copy this really quickly, and we're gonna actually go into documentation mode here for a second, right? And we're gonna say that this will be CI Pulumi, not network, but CI/CD for right now, right? Or maybe I don't know. I don't really like it called CI/CD, but you get it. We'll figure out something. It'll be in Go. That's fine. But let's just immediately kind of talk about like what do we need in AWS, right? So I'm gonna say graph left to right. Thank you for the follow. Now I think these should be private, right? These don't need to be public in any way, shape, or form. So I think them being private instances could be really good. So I think the first thing we kind of want to do here is we want to say that this isn't a private subnet, right? And we'll say private subnet EC2 instance, right? EC2 instance runner, maybe, so that we know that it's an instance for a runner, right? So if this runner is going to exist in a private subnet, then all of that's going to go through the NAT gateway. So what we'll do is we'll actually say private subnet points out to NAT gateway. Oops. Okay, so what that'll mean is that EC2 instance runners will point out and download data via our NAT gateway. All right, so let's do this. Let's grab this. Let's make this a little bit better. I'd say EC2 runners go to that. Yeah, so EC2 runners go to private subnet, which go to our NAT gateway. Now this looks better. This looks like more of like, you know, what the routing would actually look like. Now we are going to need to build a Packer image just like we did before. So I think the next thing we'll probably need to do is we'll probably need to say that the instance runner points to the instance runner AMI, right? And then the instance runner AMI points to Packer, or was it Packer points to, I think it's Packer points to this, right? So Packer will create the AMI, and actually if we wanted to, we can kind of flip this based off of its dependencies. So we'll say that Packer to the AMI goes first, and then that instance goes to that, and then this instance goes to private subnet, and private subnet goes to NAT gateway. There we go. That looks better. So Packer creates the instance AMI runner, or AMI. The runner uses that AMI, goes over the private subnet and out the NAT gateway. Yeah, okay, that looks better. I think I like that. The next question we kind of need to ask ourselves is, what instance size do we want to use here? Now, there's a couple ways that we can look at that. The first one is we can actually just go to CircleCI.com and see which ones we currently have in use. Now, I think for this, we just need a small, right? So, for example, if I go to Pulumi GitHub and I click on refresh, yeah, you'll see that this is running in a Docker small. Now, a Docker small means that it's, yeah, the cheapest, exactly. A Docker small means that it's a 1-core, 2 gig machine, I believe, or 2 gig container, because these are all running in containers. Whoa. Yeah, here you go, small, 1 gig, 2 core. So we want to at least match whatever we have in the cloud locally, right? So that means that this is going to be a 1-core, 2 gig RAM server. That's totally fine. So let's see what a 1-core. Now, here's the thing, right? If we go with T3s, we find ourselves in this weird scenario where we have to do like 2-core and something, because we get 2 cores out of the box. So that's not bad, but it's not exactly what we want, right? If I did T2, then I could do a T2 small. However, look at the difference. T2 smalls are $16 versus T3A smalls are $13. And the reason for that, if anyone doesn't know, plain and simple, is because Amazon doesn't want you running on their outdated hardware. And the incentive of making it so you don't do that is to plain and simply provide a cheaper option on the newer stuff. And so that's what they do. Whenever new things come out, the older stuff actually costs more. And so it is kind of a good idea to make sure you're upgrading, because, you know, a T2 actually at the moment might cost more for less resources. So I think a T3A small is good. I think that's what we want. And so let's, hold on, let's go here. And let's just say for now, T3A small, which is basically 2 CPUs and 2 gigabytes of RAM. Let me copy this. Go here. And then what we'll say is we'll say that we're also going to give this a class name of Alta4 LLC / now, this isn't going to be Kubernetes. So maybe we say machine small, right? Now, you might be like, what does this mean, BG? Well, this is the actual resource class that we end up using, at least for CircleCI. Now, this is going to be CircleCI specific, but it will mean that Alta4 LLC will be able to say machine small or like K8 small, right? And so the difference being here is that one of them runs on machines, whereas others run on, Kubernetes, for example. Yeah. What's the name of your software for your documentation? This is Notion. Yeah, this is Notion. There you go. Yeah, of course. All right, I feel pretty good about this. I feel pretty good about this. I feel like we now understand, like I said, chat, I didn't want to jump into this without really solving these problems well. And there's a couple things that we kind of need to take away from this before we even, like there's more work basically we need to do is all I'm trying to say. Hang on one second. Sorry, my bad, guys. Sorry. I had to hide something really quickly. So basically what I'm showing you guys now is this is our actual board. Right, this is our linear board. This is where all of our tickets are managed, and like Atoda and I really do real, task management and stuff. And you'll see here that like right now we have the CircleCI machine runner sitting here. Now the reason for that is because it is blocking updating Kubernetes CI/CD, and the reason for that is because the machine runner needs to run on our network. Right, this is what we're doing. So you might notice there's a couple other things we want to do here. We want to create database automation. We want to create messaging automation. However, there's one other thing that we need to add now, which we just talked about, which is we need to add our CI/CD automation, right? We need a way of creating, or, it might be better to just call these runners, right? Or CI/CD runners. Like, I don't really know exactly what we're going to call this, so I'm not going to try and solve that problem right now. But what we do need to do is we need to call this maybe automation. Runners. I don't know. Automation. So, you know what? Runner automation. Oh, you know what? This is actually GitOps. This is technically GitOps. So we could say GitOps runner automation, right? And so the problem here is we have no dedicated instances running in cloud providers to allow access for private automation repositories to run, right? And so the problem here is that we don't have instances running anywhere to be able to actually like connect to databases or do things like that. So this is a very high priority. Before we can have database automation, we need to be able to have our GitOps runners, or basically our GitOps automation in place. And so let's see here. This is actually going to be, I guess maybe we could just say GitOps, maybe. Is that a good word for this? GitOps? We could also call it infra. But that's kind of like already what all of this stuff is. Sorry, I'm trying to think, chat. I hate naming things. Naming things is the worst. I think it makes more sense for it to be CI, though. I do. Like, I think if we keep this related to CI/CD, then we can have, like, other runners. And, yeah, I'd rather have this be related to that. So what are they? I'm just curious here. Like, if I go to CircleCI.com, the official VS Code. Oh, I was like, what? Like, what do they call? Interesting. Overview. CI/CD platform. Yeah, I mean, it might make sense just to call it CI/CD, honestly. What's the difference between EKS CI/CD and this CI/CD? I mean, I don't know. What do you mean by EKS CI/CD? Do you mean Elastic Kubernetes? Because that's just Kubernetes. We could also just call it CI. Because we really don't know. I think I saw something like that in the board. Well, so we have Kubernetes, EKS, Kubernetes, right? But that's just EKS itself. Bucket messaging, CI/CD. These are all runners. So technically we could do runners. No, you're not too late. And the task board? Oh, EKS load balancer and auto scaling? I think those might be what you talk about. Just call them agents. Well, so here's the thing. We need something that describes it in a way so that this scopes, like, I don't know. I honestly, I don't know exactly what this is. Right now, the main problem this is solving is making it so that we have instances to run CI pipelines on. Like that's it. That's what this is, right? So I'd like it to be, CI something. CI/CD, we could do that, I guess, Pulumi CI/CD, but I'm just trying to think of because I'm also saying that it's here's what I'm saying. Some point in the future, maybe we want to deploy multiple CI/CD systems. Who the fuck knows? Pardon my language, but who knows, right? So if we have this automation already in place and I say okay, you see what I'm saying? Then I could be all right, well, in Pulumi CI/CD, not only do we deploy our runners, right? But we also deploy, I don't know, a whole stack, if we wanted to. I just want this to be all CI/CD related stuff. I hate naming things, dude. I get to a point where I'm just I don't care. I'm just going to name it what it's there as. And I think I'm just going to call it CI/CD. Yeah. I think that's what we'll call it. It is a little weird because it looks like it's sicked. But we could do that. CI/CD. We could also just call it Pulumi CI. But it's not just going to be doing... Yeah, it'll also be doing delivery. All right, I'm going to let you guys vote. And then I'm going to call it, not the stream, but, what we're going to be naming it. What should we pick? Or what should we call it? Pulumi CI/CD or Pulumi CI/CD, like dashes. Which do you like better? Well, pardon my language. Which do you like better? Pelusi. Okay, calm down. Looks like chat is deciding. Notion. Is CircleCI new for me? No. I've used them for a long time. Oh, neck and neck. Because I just voted. Both are awkward. CI/CD makes more sense. Yeah, I don't disagree. Well, what else could we call this, though? Right? Because it can't be runners. I mean, again, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. A name is a name, right? And, we don't really care. I'm just trying to think of something that's, user-friendly, if I can. I don't disagree that both are awkward, though. That's why I was saying like we could call it like GitOps doesn't look as bad, right? But like this doesn't really describe like, you know what I mean? So you guys are saying that you guys like this CI/CD. I think both are awkward. Recount. I demand a recount. What's up, Chad? How's it going, buddy? I think it's important to have a good name here, though. Yo, thank you for the redemption. Just call it infra. Yeah, just call it infra stuff. Who cares? Who cares what we name this thing? Maybe we just call it runner automation. Honestly, dude, at this point, that's kind of what these are doing. They're runners, right? I would rather it be... Damn. I hate naming stuff. So source control is Pulumi GitHub. DNS is Pulumi DNS. Network is Pulumi Network. VPN is VPN. God, I hate naming things. I think CI/CD is the best generic term you can get. Yeah. I guess it's just because it looks weird, right? Like it's just something that, oh my God, I love you. Pipelines. I would say pipelines is probably a good one. Right? That is not bad. Because then it's not even related to CI/CD or anything. It's just pipelines. It's just like all of our pipelines that we're running. I don't know. I'm not fully sold. I like it. I'm just trying to think if there would be any mix match, right? Because we have like the recording pipeline. We literally already use this somewhere. It's called the recording pipeline. I like it. I'm trying to. I'm wondering if maybe we need to do like automation pipelines. You know what I mean? I like pipelines though. I do. I just don't know if it solves it for us fully. Our votes go to. I mean, no, they don't. They don't. I'm still not against using CI/CD. Honestly, it's still CI/CD is more declarative than pipelines would be. I just like the fact that it's one word. No, I mean honestly, just call it script scheduler. I might just call it CI/CD. I really might. I might. I know it looks weird, but like, I know for a fact one of my coworkers would be like, I go for explicit over weird. Like, who cares if it's weird looking? You know what I mean? Like, it really doesn't matter that much. And like the real thing we're talking about here is CI/CD. You know, CI/CD automation. It's for setting up our CI/CD. I'm glad I don't ever think up. Well, so here's the thing, and I want to be clear. I'm doing this because I'm also thinking about how I'm going to be doing this at work, where I like do my job. And like, for example, I created a repository at Hippo called Hippo Pipelines, right? But we do have pipelines in other places. But I think pipelines and CI/CD are even two separate things. You know what I mean? For now, it's fine. I think Pulumi CI/CD works. We'll say that this is written in Go. And what it should give us is, again, basically this, at least for CircleCI. 13 hours later. Yeah, right? All right, so CI/CD automation. We have no dedicated instance running in the cloud to create pod automation to run, repositories to run, right? So this is something we need. Hold on one second. Okay, so when we talk about being able to have a CircleCI machine runner, right? And being able to update our VPN automation, right? We kind of got ourselves in a bit of a chicken before the egg scenario. We are updating our VPN automation. We're already doing this. We're in the process of doing this, right? But technically, we can't run our VPN. Well, no, that's not true. Actually, that's not true. Our VPN automation doesn't need private access. So technically, this is separate. Yeah, so these are non-blocking. So this is blocking updating CI/CD. Yep. But so is, yeah, so this. So this is being blocked by two things. CI/CD automation is blocking CircleCI machine runner. That's what it is. So if we go blocking, or not blocked by, but blocking CircleCI machine runner, right? There we go. That's what we need. Okay. So now if you notice, right, we need to take care of our CI/CD automation first. Once we get that in place, we can, okay, sorry, I'm trying to think out loud here, chat. So once we get that in place, that'll have the agent in it embedded into the, and here, let's add a little bit to this. So this will include Packer AMI. And actually, let's add one more thing, Packer automation. So we have another repository we need to add as well. Problem. We have no way to automate the creation and management of AWS EC, or of we'll say of cloud instance images, right? So that's what we want. We want to automate the creation and management of cloud instance images for use in providers, right? We'll say that this is high as well, and we'll go to that's fine. We'll just do that right now. Cool. Okay. So we've got a few tickets here that we need to kind of like suss through and figure out what exactly we've got going on here. Packer automation. All right. So Packer automation is going to make it so that we can create our CI/CD automation. So we'll go here. We'll say blocking CI/CD automation. Why? Because what we need to do here is we need, actually we'll say requirements, need to create a twin gate connector template, right? And then we need to create a CircleCI machine runner template, right? This, actually, hold on, let's do this. Mark is blocking. I feel like we're blocking something else though. What else are we blocking? So Packer twin gate VPN automation. That's right. So this is also blocking the VPN automation. Yeah, bam. So that's why this is so important, is because if we can't make our AMIs, we can't create the VPN automation or the instance for it, and we can't also create the CI/CD automation for our CI/CD machine runner. Now, I would say that technically this CI/CD machine runner will probably be done in 180, right? Because what we'll do is we'll create the Packer automation. We'll get all of this running, right? Which will be great. I don't know. It'll be interesting to figure out how I can run this in CircleCI, right? Yeah, I'm very interested in actually figuring out how that's going to run in CircleCI, especially with like SSH needs and stuff like that. So right now we might not, we might say maybe like follow up, find out how to run maybe like scheduled in CI, right? So that's something we'll need to do is we'll need to find out how to run our Packer automation as like a scheduled thing, right? But that's not a requirement for this. This, as long as we have the AMIs created, we are unblocked. So once the AMIs get created, then we can go to our CI/CD automation and our VPN automation, right? Now again, the CircleCI machine runner, this can just be deleted, or we can say that this is now replaced with, and then CI/CD automation. So we'll do that, and we'll say reference another issue, duplicate of CI/CD automation. So now that we know, like, okay, it's a duplicate, and then it got canceled. See how it immediately got canceled? It's no longer in here. Perfect. Okay, so Packer automation, we'll finish the Packer automation. After we do that, we'll create our Go automation, right? And we've already done this. Like, honestly, in a lot of ways, we're really just copying from what we've got in the VPN. Like, if we go back to our VPN, look at how similar it is, right? Security group, EC2 instance, Packer, instance AMI, twin gate connector. It's going to be almost identical, right? Packer, AMI, runner, subnet, net, you know, it's basically the same thing. So we'll really just be copying a lot of that code. Once this repository is created and, excuse me, once this repository is created and running, then we have the ability of creating all of our runners for CircleCI. Once that is done, right, VPN automation can run where it needs to. CI/CD automation can run where it needs to. Packer automation is at least created, and we'll figure out how to, like here, actually, let's do this. Packer automated or Packer scheduled updates, right? And so what we'll do is we'll say problem. We need to understand how we can run CI automation for our new Packer images repository, because we've never really run Packer before, right? So we don't really know exactly what that is. And we can make this reference another issue, and then we'll say that Packer schedule updates so that these are referenced to each other. So now what that means is that the Packer automation just needs to be creating it and getting them in AWS. That's it. We just need to worry about that, right? Once that's done, we can close CI/CD automation and updating VPN automation, and we can move forward with either updating Kubernetes, CI/CD, database automation, any of this other stuff, because now we have complete access to our network. We have the ability of running pipelines where we need to, or running workflows where we need to, and we can solve some of these other problems. So what is going to be coming up, chat? What is going to be coming up this next week, right? Because I'm going to be calling it here very shortly. I've been going for 4 hours. And I went for an hour longer than I meant to. So what are we going to be working on, right? The end goal is we want to get back to Quirk. And we are technically working on Quirk. But as I said at the beginning of the stream, there's a lot of stuff that I want to clean up. I want to have good practices around, because I'm going to be real. We're going to be doing a lot this year. I want to try out GitHub Actions for multiple reasons, not just personal, but also for at Hippo. I want to try using a bunch of other like Kubernetes specific stuff this year. I want to be trying a lot of other like cloud stuff. And so getting this automation in a place to where we can easily create these resources, and we don't really need to be worried about, okay, how do we create CI/CD, right? Oh, we just go over here. How do we try this VPN service? Oh, like we're solving problems at a low level that'll allow us to do a lot of really cool stuff. So I'm very excited about that. Some of the things that are coming up are going to be, again, I'll finish the CI/CD automation and the update VPN automation. That'll most likely be done by the next stream on Wednesday. I don't know if I'll be able to do the Kubernetes CI/CD. If I am able to get basically Packer, CI/CD, update VPN, basically these 4 tickets here done, The next stream, more than likely, we will be creating new databases in Amazon, as well as creating the event bus for our new distributed event system that we're creating for Quirk and for the recording pipeline. Now, again, if you do not remember, we've been building and talking about building a lot of really cool stuff here. And if we go to Quirk technical designs, one of the things that we're going to say is we're going to see our new recording pipeline, right? I told you guys, we're building things so that we can build these other things better. And we need automation to be able to create event buses, right? We need automation to be able to create databases and all of these other things. And so when I wrote this technical design, that's what made me realize, well, before we can go any further, we need automation at a lower level to be able to help us create these resources quicker. And that is truly why we're going through and saying, like, okay, what are the things we care about? You'll see two of the things, messaging, right? And database. These are going to be things that we're going to be creating. And so that's the database automation. We're going to be creating RDS databases, maybe even some Dynamo databases, like all sorts of stuff. And then the messaging automation will be all related to, event bus, getting our event rules set up, all that kind of stuff. And then once this is in place, we're actually going to migrate Quirk's database from Kubernetes, which is where Postgres is currently running. So if we go here, if we go here, we will notice that we should see Postgres running. Postgres. See here, offsite PostgreSQL. When I told you guys before, I want to be able to create clusters very rapidly. Well, I can't do that if the database is in the friggin' cluster. So there's a big reason as to why these tickets are prioritized and set the way that they are. Because the next thing we're going to do after we get the runners out of Kubernetes, right, and our VPN out of Kubernetes, we're going to get our databases out of Kubernetes as well. And so there's this big push that we're doing right now of like refactoring, improving, and making our systems more reliable so that we can do really cool stuff. So once we've got all of that set in place, then we'll do load balancing. Well, basically, once we get all of the infrastructure in place and where we need it, then we're going to fine tune Kubernetes. And then once we have Kubernetes fine tuned, then we're going to start deploying things to it. So again, we got a lot of really cool stuff ahead of us. I really appreciate you hanging out with me. And like I said before, if you're interested in any of this, be sure to check out the YouTube. I really do think I'm going to make a whole series based off of like how I have this set up, the structure, the dependencies, like how it's all created, to give you guys a better understanding of like, why I organize my infrastructure the way that I do. Yo, Scotty, thank you for the 10 months, brother. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Again, if you are new to our channel, be sure to check out that little blurb right there. Basically, we are a variety channel hosted by myself, BG, as well as my good friend Atoda. Hey, you come here. You know what? Let's talk. We're done for the day. I want to thank you guys seriously so much for hanging out with me today. I really do appreciate it. We got a lot planned, man. We got a lot planned. Like I said, I really want to structure this so every time we go live, we just start picking up tickets like that. Like seriously, I want to go live and I want to look at like what ticket are we working on next. I think it's going to help with like just my overall life structuring. So thank you guys again for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. If you'd like to be part of our community, be sure to check out our Discord. It's a fantastic place full of wonderful people. If you're ever curious about DevOps questions, Nick's questions, any of the other stuff, be sure to check that out. Also, again, check out the YouTube. Oh, wait, I already did that. Check out, social media. We're on Twitter. I'm not the greatest at Twitter, but, whatever. I'm getting there. I'm a little bit newer to some of this stuff, and I'm pretty introverted as well. But yeah, thank you guys again. I really do appreciate it. Again, check out the YouTube. And yes, we also have our wiki. The wiki is something I want to revisit here really quickly. Let's go back into here really fast. If you guys don't know what the wiki is this was a bit of a passion project that what I wanted to do is I wanted to start taking this, like all of this, and putting it somewhere to where you guys can have it. And yeah, it's been stale for a little while. And the biggest reason why is because Discourse sucks to manage. And that's what this is in. This is in Discourse. I have tickets in place to making it so the wiki isn't stale anymore. And to where basically I can write in Notion and then make it so that that appears in another place. So, yeah, it's something I'm working on, but you guys can also check out the wiki. I can share the Notion page, but it's not dedicated. You know what I mean? Like the Notion, it's just kind of like a temporary link. It's not really meant to be like something you could like Google search, right? For example, or something like that. So, but yeah, thank you guys again. I really appreciate it. For anyone just tuning in, I do apologize. I'm about to end the stream. I've been going for 4 hours. Dokugun, thank you so much for at least stopping by, dude. Let's go find somebody to raid really quickly. Like I said, we will be back Wednesday. I'll be back Wednesday, nighttime. I'm doing nighttime streams on Wednesday, right? And that's just because I have a dedicated schedule now with my work. Right? Again, if you do not know, I will be live Monday mornings, Wednesday nights, and Friday mornings. And Atoda will be live Thursday nights and Saturday mornings. So technically, you guys are going to get Alta 4 streams Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. So stay tuned and locked in. And I hope to see you guys in the Discord. Let's go find somebody to raid really quick. And I'm gonna get out of here. I wish we could raid Userin, dude, but he doesn't stream in English. So it's unfortunately not like, yeah, it's not super helpful. I wish we could raid him though. He's such a cool dude. We haven't raided Anthony in a while. Let's go say hi to Anthony Writes Code. If you guys don't know Anthony, he's awesome. He's a super cool dude. Let's go say hi to him. I started my journey into Nix OS today. Wish me luck. We'll join the Discord. Well, you're already in the Discord. But anybody else who wants to know about Nix, join the Discord. Yeah, we got you, Whisper. Don't worry, buddy. That's exciting. You're going to do great, man. Nix is awesome. You're going to do great. Where's my... I don't know where my mouse went. Oh, here it is. It's over here. All right, guys. I'm out. Enjoy the raid. Appreciate you. Hold on. Let me go back here. I'm not leaving yet. Hold on. I'm still here. Okay. All right. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Like I said, I'll be back Wednesday. Check out all the stuff. And yeah, enjoy Anthony's raid. All right, guys. Peace out. Bye.